This guy has a serious possessive streak. He seals his creepy demands with a kiss. And our girl gasps, waking up in a cold sweat. It was all a dream, a terrifyingly vivid dream she keeps having. She's been having them every single day since she arrived in this world. That's right, our heroine is not from around here. Plot twist, she's a time traveler. Just 3 days ago, she was a completely normal person living in the modern world. Just strolling down the street, probably thinking about what to have for dinner. When bam, Sky truck strikes again. She woke up as Nebby, the chief saintess of the Holy Order. It's a pretty big promotion, not gonna lie. The Holy Order is a powerful human organization in the Land of Light. Here, the tears of saintesses can be made into weapons to fight demons. A truly bizarre job description. But our little nugget is special. It's not her tears they are after. It's her blood. Her blood can be forged into the most powerful weapons. Yeah, that's not a red flag at all. And who are they fighting? The demons from the Land of Night. They're hostile, they're dangerous, and they're led by this ridiculously hot-looking guy. But Nebby's more worried about the man who keeps invading her dreams. Why does he feel so real? Every single detail is burned into her memory, especially that feeling. It's driving her absolutely bonkers. A knock on the door interrupts her meltdown. Her guardian knight has arrived. She quickly rushes to the door, hoping for a distraction. But the man she finds on the other side is unexpected. He's tall, dark, and wearing a freaking muzzle. Playing it cool, she asks if he's her new knight. He introduces himself as Tylo, but she can't stop staring at the Hannibal Lecter mask. She invites him in because what else is she supposed to do? She's trying to make small talk, asking what a guardian knight even does. And what's the deal with the face cage? But instead of answering, he just starts undressing. He asks her to check him. Check what? Our girl is about to short circuit. He tells her to raise her hand. Confused, she does it. He takes her hand and guides it forward, and asks her to check his body to see if it meets her satisfaction. He starts by placing her hand on his chiseled chest. Then he slowly drags it down to his rock-hard abdomen. Okay, the quality is definitely satisfactory. But what is this? Is this some kind of weird holy ritual? Between the psycho in her dreams and the stripper knight at her door, she's convinced this entire world has gone crazy. Tylo returns, thankfully fully clothed this time. He asks her to come with him, but before she can ask where, boom, a massive explosion blasts through the palace walls. He snaps into night mode, the demons are attacking. He scoops our terrified heroine into his arms. He promises to get her to safety. Her mind is reeling, kill everyone. She thought this was just a normal fight, but this is terrifying. Just then, a smooth voice cuts through the chaos, calling her name. Standing on the ruins is a man with silver hair and glowing purple eyes. It's him, the man from her dreams. He smirks and says, "I'm here to pick you up." His eyes land on Nebby, clutched in her knight's arms. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. Found you. In a world torn apart by war, magnificent houses are blown to ruins and the sounds of battle echo through the land. This is the brutal, endless battle between humans and demons. And our poor heroine is about to learn that this chaotic world is far more complex than she ever imagined. In the middle of the carnage, her loyal knight Tylo shields her from the fighting. Our girl, ever the practical one, tells him to put her down so they can escape. She's got a look of fierce determination in her eyes. But Tylo is having none of it, declaring with his whole chest that he's her holy knight and will protect her with his life. Just as we're about to swoon, a new challenger appears, looking down on them with a condescending smirk. This ridiculously handsome man suddenly has our girl in his arms, whispering poisonously, "Is it because you were too lonely without me?" And just to make things worse, he introduces himself with a dramatic flair. He's Tados, the freaking demon leader. I mean, of course he is, look at that face. Suddenly, our girl's eyes widen in horror. While she's frozen in shock, her knight Tylo is literally frozen by the Demon King's power. He can only watch with fury in his eyes, before Tatos sends him flying with a single blast of magic. Our girl is now completely trapped in the villain's arms. She cries out for her knight, but Tatos just pulls her closer, his voice a possessive purr. "Even though I'm right here, you're looking at others." He caresses her face, acting all sad about it, and the gaslighting is just off the charts. Then he leans in, and she can't believe what's happening. Is this for real? He kisses her and it's intense, leaving her breathless and confused. Her mind is screaming no, but her body is screaming something else entirely. A strange power surges through her, and she realizes with a dawning horror that some part of her wants this. Her body feels like it's been craving him, waiting for him this whole time. From the ground, poor Tylo hears the sickening snap of his protective mask breaking. He looks up, bloodied and betrayed, to see the woman he swore to protect in the arms of his enemy. Tatos just looks down at him with a savage glint in his eye as if to say, "Why so serious?" He then has the audacity to whisper to Nebby, "I want you right now." "Okay, sir, there is a time and a place." Our girl finally snaps out of it, demanding he let her go. But Tatos just scoffs, saying demons are honest about their desires, unlike hypocritical humans. Then he drops the biggest bombshell of all. "Do you really think you're just an ordinary human? He reveals that they are both fragments of the night god's soul, and that they are destined to become one. He then launches into a history lesson. Ages ago, the light god and the night god ruled together. But the night god got bored and created the demon race to wipe out the fragile humans. The light god, being the good guy, gave humans the power to fight back. This started a massive war between the two gods, splitting the world in two, and kicking off generations of demons trying to exterminate humanity. It's a tale as old as time, really. Nebby is in complete denial. She's a saintess. She fights demons. How could she be part of a god that wants to kill her own people? Tatos just smirks, telling her to listen to her own body. You can't refuse me, he whispers. Your body craves me. But our girl is a fighter. She's not giving up like this. With newfound resolve, she bites her lip hard, deciding she will absolutely not fall into his hands. And then she unleashes a massive wave of holy power, forcing him to let go. Tados is completely stunned. He never expected her to be this powerful. The blast sends him reeling, knocking him back. The spell on Tylo is broken, and he realizes he can move again. Nebby makes a run for it, and her loyal knight is right there to scoop her up and carry her to safety. Left behind in the rubble, Tatos touches a scratch on his cheek, a drop of his own blood on his fingertip. The Demon King is in absolute disbelief. He, the mighty Tatos, was actually injured. How is that even possible? Hours later, in the demon's land of night, a little girl is throwing a fit. This is Lumia, Tatos' sister, and she is not happy. The demon high priestess explains that Nebby is a unique threat. She has the soul fragment of their god, but the holy body of a human saintess, a chaotic combo that gives her the power to actually harm him. The priestess advises Tatos that if he wants to complete his plan, he has to make Nebby come to him willingly. The word willingly echoes in Tatos' mind. He thinks back to holding our girl, obsessed with the idea of her. A dark and twisted plan begins to form. He vows to make her body and heart completely unable to resist him. But in the background, his sister Lumia trembles with rage and jealousy. She can't believe the other half of her god's soul belongs to some human girl. It's just not fair. The world dissolves into a chaotic nightmare of blood-red roses and chains. Our poor girl trembles, her breath catching in her throat. The darkness is suffocating, filled with the specter of death. Suddenly, a strong arm wraps around her, pulling her back against a hard chest. A chillingly familiar voice whispers in her ear, "What's wrong, Nebby? Why are you so scared?" It's Tatos, the demon leader, and he's holding her with a terrifying gentleness. He tells her not to be afraid, that he's there for her, but his words offer zero comfort. His smile is the stuff of nightmares as he leans in close. He covers her eyes, trying to shield her from a horror he himself probably caused. Nebby, he purrs, "I'll come find you soon." Then he seals his twisted promise with a kiss, swearing they'll be together forever. The last thing she sees are his glowing crimson eyes, filled with a possessive fire that could burn the world down. The dream shatters, and our girl wakes up with a gasp. She clutches her hands to her chest, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm. Was it just a dream, or did that monster Tatos actually do something to her? But before she can even process the nightmare, a voice from behind her says, "Turn around." She whips her head around and nearly has a heart attack. She lets out a scream, because there is a man in her bed at the Holy Order's base. "Tylo, what are you doing in my bed?" she shrieks. His answer is ridiculously deadpan. "The paladin must protect the saintess," he states as if it's the most obvious thing in the world. He then drops the bomb that they'll be eating and sleeping together 24/7 from now on. Our girl is completely scandalized, asking if that includes bath time. And this man, with a completely straight face, starts describing in detail how he'll wash her body. Every single part. She shoves him away, her face burning hotter than the sun. Is this guy for real? She asks if he has any shame, and he just replies, "I won't." The absolute audacity. He grabs her hand, his touch surprisingly gentle. "I am an artificial being created to protect you," he reveals. This is getting weirder by the second. He claims it's only natural for him to do everything for her. Our girl is floored, asking what an artificial being even is. Tylo explains he's a life form created with holy seals, and he's the only one of his kind among the paladins. To prove his point, he casually rips his shirt open and hello abs. Our girl can't help but stare. But then she notices something. The horrible wounds Tatos gave him are completely gone. He explains that artificial beings heal by consuming their own life force. She's horrified, he's literally sacrificing his life for her. He confirms that this is why he's not considered human. He takes her hands, his gaze intense. "You can order me to do anything," he says softly. "And you can do anything to me." The air crackles with a tension so thick you could cut it with a holy sword. Our girl's mind is reeling. Do anything? What does that even mean? Her hand is pressed against his bare chest, and she is short-circuiting. This gesture. Just as things are about to get even more chaotic, a knock sounds at the door. Saved by the bell, or maybe not, it's a summons from the high deacon. Tylo explains he's the highest authority, a man of supreme wisdom, a man who knows everything that happens in the Holy Order. Our girl immediately starts to panic. Wait, if he knows everything, could he know she's a time traveler? She desperately asks if she has to go, but Tylo confirms that her request from the High Deacon cannot be refused. She tries to calm her racing heart. Tylo senses her fear and promises to stay by her side. She gives him a grateful smile, thanking him for always protecting her. And of course, he takes this as an invitation to offer to dress her. Sir, please, have some mercy on her maidenly heart. She yelps that she can do it herself, a blushing, flustered mess. A little while later, she's ready. Dressed in the formal robes of the saintess, she looks in the mirror and takes a deep breath. She decides that if worst comes to worst, she'll just have to tell the truth. Tylo is waiting for her and tells her it's time to go. As they walk side by side, she can't help but notice how incredibly handsome he looks in his knight's uniform. They walk down the grand, intimidating hallway, stopping before a massive door. She's so nervous she could throw up. They knock, and her hand trembles. Steeling herself, she walks in. At a large desk sits a man with elegant, long silver hair. This is the High Deacon, she announces their arrival. And he looks up. It looks like your injuries have healed, he says with a calm smile. I'm relieved. Our girl lets out a tiny internal sigh of relief. His tone is normal, maybe he doesn't know she's an imposter. But her relief is short-lived. I called you here to ask about the demon leader Tados, he says, his eyes narrowing slightly. Why did he take you and you alone? Oh no, she's been caught. Our girl stands before the High Deacon, whose gaze feels like it could pierce right through her soul. She's sweating bullets, knowing she absolutely cannot reveal the truth about who or what she really is. So she spins a tale, explaining that the demon leader Tados wanted her as a trophy, but she managed to escape by splashing blood on his face. Tylo, her loyal knight, stands silently beside her, not giving anything away. The High Deacon processes this, his expression unreadable. So that's why he showed up in person this time, he muses. Our girl holds her breath, desperately hoping he bought her story. He finally cracks a small smile, calling her smart and saying the consequences would have been unimaginable otherwise. Phew, crisis averted for now. He then gives her the lowdown on this Tados guy, a demon leader who inherited the terrifying power of the night god's soul fragments. Apparently, he's a complete madman who hates humans and once had the audacity to bomb the Holy Order itself. Our poor heroine trembles, asking if he might bomb this place too. But the deacon is smugly confident, assuring her they have multiple layers of hidden barriers. Even Tados can't find this place, he says with absolute certainty. She lets out a sigh of relief, but her mind is still racing with questions she needs answered. Taking a deep breath, she decides to push her luck. Hi, Deacon, she asks. You said Tados only inherited half of the night god's soul fragments, where is the other half? She presses on, and what if the other half is in the land of light? How would the Holy Order handle it? The deacon scoffs, calling it impossible, but she won't let it go. What if it really happens? His face darkens instantly. The night god represents demons, and if a human inherited that power? His answer is swift and brutal. We will definitely execute the human who inherits the night god's fragment. The words hit our girl like a physical blow. Execute them, her mind flashes with terror. If they found out she not only has the fragment, but that she's a transmigrator who isn't the real saintess Nebby. She imagines being burned at the stake, a heretic condemned by the very people she's trying to work with. They would kill her without a second thought. She hardens her resolve, no one can ever discover her two secrets. The deacon's voice snaps her out of her spiraling thoughts. Nebby, Nebby. She blinks, coming back to the present. She quickly apologizes, and he graciously blames her distraction on the trauma of facing Tados alone. If there's nothing else, I'll be going now, she says, eager to escape. But as she thinks, alone, wasn't Tylo with me? The deacon stops her. Wait, there's one more thing. Suddenly, a glowing magic circle appears under Tylo's feet. He lets out a pained grunt and collapses to his knees. Our girl rushes to his side in a panic, catching him as he falls. He's clenching his jaw, trying to endure a wave of agonizing pain. The High Deacon watches, his voice as cold as ice. Stand up. As a knight, you failed to protect the saintess. This is your punishment. Our girl can only cry out Tylo's name as he writhes on the floor. The deacon's voice echoes in the room, a cruel lecture about a knight's duty. Always put the saintess' safety first. Even if you're injured, crippled, or dead, you must protect the saintess at all costs. She looks up at him, utterly horrified by his sadism. Tylo struggles to agree, only to cough up a spray of blood. That's the last straw. Enough, she screams. Stop it. Why are you torturing him like this? The deacon is unmoved. A knight who lets the saintess get hurt should be punished. This way they will reflect. She argues that Tylo is just an artificial being, but the deacon's reply is savage. Then he needs to understand this even more. She desperately defends him. No one can escape from Tados. Tylo has done his best. But the deacon is a wall of dogma. This is the rule of the Holy Order. No one is an exception. Seeing his cold, unyielding face, our girl knows words won't work. She gently pushes Tylo aside, and in a shocking move drops to her knees. She throws herself over Tylo's body, shielding him from the punishing magic. Tylo is stunned, even the high deacon is taken aback. He pauses the spell, a magic seal glowing in his hand. "Are you crazy?" she challenges him. "I told you without Tylo I couldn't have escaped from Tados." She looks him dead in the eye, her voice ringing with conviction. So Tylo shouldn't be punished at all. The room is thick with tension. Finally, the deacon relents. "This matter ends here, you may go back now." A wave of relief washes over our heroine, a small, triumphant smile on her face as she thanks him. Back in the safety of her chambers, she helps the weakened Tylo into bed. Sitting beside him, she gently asks if he's still in pain. He just stares up at her, his golden eyes filled with confusion. Nebby, why?" he asks softly. She blinks, not understanding why what. He explains, "I'm an artificial being, I can be disposed of. No matter how much I'm injured, I can recover." He pushes himself up, his gaze intense and searching. "Why did you save me?" And for the first time, our girl is at a complete loss for words. Even now, she can't quite wrap her head around it all. Looking at the dark robes discarded on the floor, she knows this is her new reality. Tylo, looking way too fine for someone who just woke up, asks her what it even means to be artificial. Our girl knows one thing for sure, she could never treat him like a simple tool or an object. She looks him straight in the eye and brings up his earlier question about why she saved him. "Tell me," she asks softly, "can your body feel pain?" He gives a small nod. She smiles, making her point crystal clear. Tools and objects don't feel pain, only real lives do. She tells him it doesn't matter how he was created. He is a living, breathing being just like everyone else. The words hit him hard and he can barely process them. This is the first time anyone has ever told him he matters. She makes him promise to cherish himself from now on. And her sincerity shines through. Gazing at her gentle smile, Tylo feels something shift inside him, a strange warmth spreading through his chest. He agrees, but his mind is racing, wondering why his heart is suddenly beating so fast. The poor boy is so flustered he turns into a blushing chibai. But then he suddenly grabs her hand, a determined look on his face. He declares that if he's meant to cherish himself, he needs to get better quickly. Our girl's brain short-circuits, realizing he means he needs to consume life force to heal. And he's looking at her like she's a 5-course meal. She immediately panics, grabbing him and yelling no. She tells him he absolutely cannot use his life recklessly. It's only after the danger has passed that she realizes just how compromising their position is. A man in a doctor's coat stands outside. Our girl is internally screaming, "Can I not get 5 minutes of peace?" The man introduces himself as Warden, a doctor who's here to draw her blood. Her blood, you see, is super special. Draw her blood? Oh no. Our girl is freaking out. As the chief saintess, her blood is used to make holy weapons. The problem, she has a crippling, all-consuming fear of needles. A single drop of sweat rolls down her face. She's literally fainted from injections before. She tries to play it cool with Tylo, asking if he thinks she'd be scared. But Tylo, bless his innocent heart, just says she's known as the calmest person in the entire holy order. Welp, she's completely, utterly doomed. The doctor sets up his kit, looking all professional, tapping the little box of horrors. He explains that due to recent demon attacks, they need to stockpile her blood and tears ASAP. She just manages to squeak out an okay as he puts on his gloves. She tries to meditate her way through the fear, but the sight of the syringe makes her gulp. She can't let them find out she's a fraud. In her mind, she replays Tylo's words about how calm she is. She remembers the last time, just sitting there like a statue while they drained her, all while internally screaming her head off. This is just too much for her. And yup, there she goes, fainting right into Tylo's arms. Her needle phobia is no joke. Okay, let's rewind a second before the fainting. The doctor tells her to take a seat, with Tylo standing guard like a worried parent. Our girl takes a deep breath, trying to psych herself up. I can do this, she thinks as the doctor preps her arm. The moment the cold swab touches her skin, she goes completely rigid. Tylo immediately notices something is wrong. The doctor flicks the needle to get rid of air bubbles, and our girl's eyes widen in absolute terror. The needle is so big, so sharp, so scary. She's trembling uncontrollably, desperately trying to stop. Terrified they'll discover her secret. Suddenly, a hand covers her eyes. Tylo leans in from behind, holding her steady. And then he bites her lip. Our girl is so shocked she can't even process the pain of the needle going in. The doctor is completely oblivious, focused on his task, while Tylo shoots him a sidelong glance. The distraction worked perfectly. "What are you doing?" she whispers, her face burning. He leans in close and asks, Nebby, do you think I'm inferior to him?" "Excuse me, what?" Our poor heroine is just a mess of confusion and blush. He whispers that he can make her feel comfortable and happy too. Her mind flashes back to that chaotic kiss with the silver-haired villain, wondering if Tylo is talking about that asterisk. Our girl is reeling, trying to process this emotionally stunted night of hers. Just then, the doctor announces the blood draw is over. Talk about chaotic timings, our girl is caught completely off guard. The doctor tells her to get some rest, adding that he'll be back next week. He packs up his things and heads for the door. But as he leaves the room, he pauses. Something isn't sitting right with him. He thinks to himself that Nebby seems different and that he should probably report this to the high deacon. Back in the room, our heroine breathes a sigh of relief, thinking she just narrowly avoided being exposed. Then it clicks, was Tylo's sudden advance just a ploy to distract the doctor? She's confused by this whole situation. Meanwhile, Tylo looks like a kicked puppy, asking if he did something wrong. The sudden shift in mood is giving her whiplash. She quickly reassures him, saying she just raised her voice and isn't blaming him. But he presses on, genuinely wanting to know what he did wrong. He recalls seeing her with Tatos, asking why she isn't enjoying his kisses like she did before, and if he should maybe bite her too. This man is a menace. He seriously contemplates how to improve, asking if she'd prefer if he put his hand on her before our girl frantically cuts him off. She slaps a hand over his mouth, completely flustered, trying to explain that what happened before was complicated. She's struggling to find the words. Kissing and touching can't be done casually, she says. He immediately asks, then when can people do it? She explains it's for lovers or people who like each other, but Tylo has no clue what lovers or like even means. Our girl is stumped, it's the blind leading the blind here. She tries to save face, telling him he'll understand one day and that for now they need to keep their distance. She declares no more sleeping or bathing together, but Tylo is horrified. No way, then I can't protect you. She sighs, realizing this is a battle she can't win, and settles for compromise. He has to promise not to do anything she doesn't want. She knows it's going to be a long road to teach him basic human decency. Tylo hesitates for a moment, but then he agrees, I promise MS Nebby. With that crisis averted, she quickly changes the subject, asking him to fill her in on the rules of the Holy Order. Tylo explains that the order is very strict. Each saintess has a dedicated knight providing 24/7 protection. A doctor checks on them every 3 days, extracts their tears every 10, and they're basically prisoners who can't leave. On top of that, they have to eat in the cafeteria once a day and attend mandatory group prayers every week. Our girl thinks it doesn't sound too bad. She uses the classic amnesia excuse to ask Tylo what she was like before the accident. Tylo tells her the old Nebby was extremely quiet and seemed to have no interest at all. He recalls how she always chose to sit alone in the farthest corner. She never spoke to the other saintesses, which made her unpopular and even feared. Our girl sees this as a silver lining. Being a loner means less chance of being exposed. She lets out a sigh, but a dark thought crosses her mind. Was the original Nebby quiet by choice, or was she being suppressed? Just then, Tylo announces it's time to head to the cafeteria. Our heroine is surprised since she's been eating in her room. He explains her 3-day grace period is over and now she has to join the others. She figures a simple trip to the cafeteria can't be that bad. Famous last words. The moment they walk in, the entire room goes silent and all eyes are on her. She freezes, wondering why the atmosphere is so tense and why everyone is staring. The pressure is on. Tylo goes to get her meal and she collapses into a chair, exhausted from trying to maintain her new, cool persona. It's so much harder than her usual outgoing self. Suddenly, a silky voice echoes in her mind, my dear Nebby. She stiffens, recognizing that voice instantly. It can't be, Tados shouldn't be able to get past the barrier. But an invisible force yanks her to her feet. And suddenly, he's right behind her. He leans in, his voice a possessive whisper. When I'm not around, you seem to be having a good time with other men. He materializes in the middle of the crowded hall, holding her captive. Why are you here? She gasps. But she realizes with dawning horror that no one else can see him. Because we are one, remember? He purrs, leaning closer. So no matter where you are, I can find you. And touch you. He strokes her hair, his eyes filled with a dangerous light. I'll make it disappear, our girl is screaming internally. How is he here? And why is she the only one who can see this chaotic demon king making a scene? He pulls her flesh against him, his voice a low whisper in her ear. Stay close. His hand snakes around her waist, refusing to let go. Just as this chaotic scene unfolds, her friends are outside, blissfully unaware. The deacon reassures Tylo, the demon king shouldn't be able to find this place, right? Nebby tries to push him away, stammering his name as she desperately points towards the door. She needs them to see this to help her, but he just holds her tighter, completely unfazed. Her poor friends can only look away, completely mortified. Tatos leans in again, his voice a seductive purr. Your heartbeat is faster, Nebby, is this exciting for you? And just like that, he vanishes into a puff of purple smoke. Our girl snaps back to reality, dazed and confused. She touches her neck. There's no blood, but she can still feel the ghost of his bite, and she knows with chilling certainty it was all real. Suddenly, a loud thud from outside shatters the silence. She and her entourage turn around, wondering what on earth is going on now. and what she sees makes her gasp. It's Eric, one of Natasha's knights, sprawled on the floor, screaming at her personal knight, Tylo. Tylo is seething, demanding he take back his disgusting words. This boy is ready to throw down for his saintess's honor. But Eric just sneers, questioning why Nebby was hiding if she wasn't hurt. He then accuses her of kneeling and begging the demon king for her life, calling her a disgrace to the entire holy order. Tylo raises his fist again, ready to rearrange this man's face. But our girl stops him. Tylo, she says calmly, don't be impulsive. He insists he can't let anyone speak ill of her, but she tells him it's okay, that she'll exhaust herself if she gets upset over every hater. That's when Eric's trashy friend chimes in, calling Tylo an unstable artificial being that needs to be taken away. The absolute nerve, our girl's face turns to ice. She looks at her loyal knight and gives a single savage command, Tylo, hit him. And oh, he does. The smug look on the knight's face instantly turns to shock. Tylo lands a clean punch right across his jaw, and follows it up with a kick that sends the punk flying across the room. Our girl stands tall and declares, Tylo is my knight, no different from anyone else. She glares at the onlookers, her voice dripping with authority. I hope all of you understand this, she says coldly. Now apologize to Tylo. Yes, queen, put them in their place. Tylo looks at her, his heart swelling with pride, when a sickly sweet voice cuts through the tension. It's the other saintess, Natasha, and she looks absolutely furious. Bullying my knight in front of everyone, she says, acting like her little minion wasn't just spewing absolute garbage. Nebby just stares at her, completely unimpressed. Natasha storms over, demanding to know why Nebby is looking down on her. Our girl calmly explains that her knight was the one insulting Tylo. She looks Natasha dead in the eyes and tells her to have her knight apologize. But of course, Natasha's sycophant defends her, claiming the chief saintess has the right to discipline anyone. Nebby claps back. So just because she's the chief saintess, everything she does is right? Natasha finally explodes, accusing Nebby of being cold and disrespectful to the entire holy order. The air crackles with hostility between the two saintesses. What makes you think you're qualified to be chief saintess? Natasha spits, just because of your slightly stronger blood. Nebby realizes this isn't about the knights at all. Natasha is just using this as an excuse because she's always been jealous. Natasha challenges her to a duel during combat training. If I win, she declares, you give up your position as chief saintess. Our poor girl, who has been through way too much today, can only blink in confusion. Combat trainings, what's that? The ladies gossip about the upcoming combat training, noting that both Nebby and Natasha are strong fighters. The guys chime in, agreeing it's hard to say who would win since they've never fought before. Our girl, meanwhile, is having a full-blown internal meltdown. She's a total fake and knows zero self-defense. She latches onto the idea of someone getting hurt as the perfect excuse to weasel her way out of this. But just as they're discussing it, a voice cuts through the air. A very powerful, very important voice. It's the High Deacon, and he wants to know what all the fuss is about. He calmly sips his tea as Natasha explains she wants to compete for the chief saintess position. Our poor heroine internally panics, hoping he'll shut it down because it's too dangerous. But nope, he's all for it. The High Deacon agrees to let them compete just once. He gives them a serene, almost sinister smile, saying this will prove who is most qualified. Natasha is thrilled, but our girl is about to pass out. He looks directly at her, saying he's looking forward to seeing her give it her all. His words feel loaded, and our girl's internal alarm bells are screaming. The doctor chimes in, saying Nebby's body has recovered and a little combat should be fine. But he suggests postponing for half a month just to be safe. And that's when our girl notices him, the warden, standing right there with the High Deacon. A horrifying thought strikes her. Did the warden notice something was wrong during the blood draw and snitch to the High Deacon? She realizes this is a test. If she refuses, it's an admission of guilt, but if she agrees, he can expose her as a fake. Looks like she's trapped between a rock and a very hard place. Stealing her nerves, she makes her decision. She turns to Natasha and accepts the challenge, but she adds a savage condition. If I win, you and your knight must apologize to Tylo in front of everyone. Natasha, oozing with overconfidence, agrees without a second thought. Finally back in the safety of her room, our girl completely collapses on her bed. The panic sets in again. She doesn't know a single thing. She's going to be exposed immediately. Tylo apologizes, blaming his impulsiveness, but she just grabs his hand. She reassures him it's not his fault, but now they have to figure out how to survive a duel in 2 weeks. She sighs, wishing there was some magic that could let her borrow Tylo's combat power for a day. And Tylo, with a completely serious face, says there actually is. He leads her to the massive Holy Order library. He explains that it holds countless ancient books filled with magic formations and spells. Some left by gods, others researched by their predecessors. He says that as a holy knight, some basic information was just automatically installed in his brain when he was created. He remembers there's a method to share power, they just have to find the right book. And so the search begins. Hours tick by as they comb through the endless shelves. Tylo even has to help her reach the higher books, leading to a rather close encounter. The tension is palpable, but they have a mission to focus on. After what feels like an eternity, she's about to give up hope. Suddenly, her eyes land on a single book on the top shelf that seems to be glowing. This has to be it. She pulls it out, but as she does, the entire massive bookshelf starts to sway dangerously. With a triumphant smile, she holds up the book for Tylo to see. But he's not looking at the book, his eyes are wide with alarm. "Watch out," he screams. The entire bookshelf comes crashing down. Books go flying everywhere. In a split second, Tylo lunges, pulling her into his arms and shielding her with his own body. He holds her tight as the chaos settles, asking if she's okay. He tells her he'll hold up the bookshelf and that she should get out first. She agrees, but as she's about to move, the library door creaks open. It's Natasha, wondering what's going on. Before our girl can even make a sound, Tylo yanks her back against him, covering her mouth. "SHHH, don't make a sound," he whispers urgently in her ear. They absolutely cannot let Natasha know they were in the library looking for a forbidden spellbook. Natasha peers into the aisle, sensing that something is just ahead. But just as they are about to be discovered, Natasha and her knight walk into the library. Our girl panics, hiding her face in Tylo's chest as he holds her tight. Natasha peers into the aisle, her eyes scanning the room. Her knight Eric asks her what's wrong. She plays it cool, saying it was just some fallen books, and our girl breathes a silent sigh of relief. Eric decides to stay in the library for a bit, and Natasha, ever the loyal simp, says she'll guard him. Meanwhile, Tylo whispers to our girls, wondering why they haven't left yet. He's struggling to hold their awkward position, and his arms are trembling. She whispers back, asking if she can move, and he quietly agrees. She tries to get up, but her legs have gone to sleep, and she stumbles, falling right back onto him in an even more compromising position. She stammers out an apology. But let's be real, this is a whole new level of awkward. Tylo, being the pure-hearted AI he is, just innocently mentions he can hear her heartbeat. As our heroes are trapped in this chaotic mess, Natasha is busy ranting to Eric about our girl Nebby. She fumes about how Nebby became the chief saintess overnight, despite all her own hard work. She's convinced Nebby was mocking her when she agreed to their little competition. Natasha is determined to win and make our girl a laughingstock in front of the entire Holy Order. She grits her teeth, vowing to make Nebby apologize for her arrogance. Suddenly, Eric apologizes, looking completely dejected. He's ashamed that he, Natasha's knight, can't even defeat an artificial human like Tylo. But Natasha's face softens. She cups his face, telling him that in her eyes, he's the bravest knight of all. She calls him only my knight, and then they are locked in a deep, passionate kiss. Things escalate quickly as Natasha whispers that she wants to do it, right here in the library. Eric, apparently a man of experience, asks if she wants to use the table asterisk like last time asterisk. Our poor heroine is getting an earful, realizing that what Natasha and her knight are doing is strictly forbidden. She and Tylo are now unwilling spectators to this very private moment. And by private, I mean they are going at it. The silence between them is deafening. Suddenly, Tylo calls her name. He's found the spellbook they were looking for. Finally, a way to share power and solve their problems. But as she reads the instructions, her hopeful smile vanishes. She's feeling pretty good about herself, thinking she's finally getting the hang of it. She draws the bow, feeling all smooth and natural. She figures the original Nebby must have left some muscle memory behind for her. And she lets the arrow fly, completely missing the entire setup. Welp, so much for innate skills. Our poor heroine realizes it was all just wishful thinking. Suddenly, a voice from behind her says, "Ms. Nebby, you're doing it wrong." It's Tylo swooping in to be her personal instructor. She awkwardly agrees to his help. We get a quick refresher on how this whole power-sharing thing works. It requires a link between their bodies, which can only be established through constant intimate contact *. Oh, the things we do for magic. Only then can the link be fully activated and their power stabilized. We see a flashback of Tylo helping her dry her hair, all in the name of magical training, of course. Even reading a book becomes a full-body contact sport, with our girl blushing up a storm while Tylo insists, "We have to do this." Our heroine is having an existential crisis. Why is the magic of the Holy Order so scandalous? Back in the present, Tylo gets right behind her, declaring he'll try to touch her as much as possible to help. "My man has one goal and it ain't archery." He whispers for her to take a deep breath and feel the power in her body. But our girl is internally screaming. How is she supposed to focus with him pressed up against her like this? She tries to calm her racing heart. She tells herself he's just helping and has no other intentions. "Keep telling yourself that, sweetie." Tylo asks if she's ready. He can feel the power building. She focuses, her eyes filled with determination. Thwack, not only a bullseye, she splits the arrow already in the target. A perfect Robin Hood shot. She can't believe her eyes. She turns to Tylo, excitedly asking if the link was activated. He gives her a heart-melting smile and confirms that he felt it too. Our girl is ecstatic. With this power, she finally has a chance to pass the combat test. Tylo tells her they still need to strengthen the link and practice more, and she's all in, promising to do her best. In her excitement, she tells Tylo to turn around. He looks confused but does as she asks. Suddenly, the entire training ground erupts in a shower of glowing petals and blooming trees. It's absolutely breathtaking. She's never seen such a beautiful view in the Holy Order before. It must be a lucky day. She asks Tylo if he's happy and he softly says, "Me too," but he's not looking at the flowers. He's looking right at her. My heart just did a thing. Later that night, our girl is ready for a well-deserved rest. She stretches, feeling amazing after a productive day. But Tylo pops up to remind her that to strengthen the link, they need to sleep together. Sir, the excuses are getting wild. He knows she called his body's reaction an accident, but he can't control himself around her. He wonders if it's because he's an artificial human and doesn't understand these feelings. But one thing is for sure, he wants to be closer to her, and he pulls her into a gentle embrace as they sleep. Meanwhile, in the dark and gloomy land of night, a portrait of Nebby hangs on the wall, and the obsessive silver-haired Duke Tatos is seething. "Nebby," he growls, "you let another man get close to you again." He takes a moody sip of wine, looking absolutely wrecked. He blames himself for not reaching her sooner. Suddenly, a woman in a slinky nightgown appears. "Nebby misses you so much," she purrs. She leans over him, whispering, "I'm here, my dear Tados." She tells him he can do whatever he wants with her. His eyes are hazy with drink and sorrow as he whispers, "Nebby." "It's me," the woman says seductively. "Tonight I'm yours." She takes his hand and places it on her chest. He looks at her, his mind clouded. But the second his hand makes contact, his eyes snap open with cold fury. He grabs the imposter, his expression turning absolutely savage. The woman screams for him to let go. But Tatos is done playing games. "How dare you impersonate her?" he snarls. The blonde desperately pleads with him, saying she just wanted to make him happy. But Tatos is having none of it, his voice colder than ice as he says, "No need." He violently shoves her to the ground, commanding her to get out of his room immediately. On the floor, she begs to know why he changed into her but won't accept her now. Her eyes well up with tears as she tries to reason with him. She reminds him that as demons, they have no moral restrictions and that she's the one who suits him best. She lunges at him, trying to force a kiss and telling him he'll know if he just tries it once. And for her efforts, she gets yeeted across the room again. Tatos doesn't even flinch, telling her it has nothing to do with her identity. He's just not interested in her. The only one he wants is Nebby. The rejection hits her like a physical blow, leaving her stunned on the floor. He delivers the final, brutal blow, threatening her even though she's his sister and telling her to get out or face his wrath. She retreats, her face a mask of pure, unadulterated fury. Alone now, Tatos can only think of Nebby, his mind flooded with memories of their time together. He looks at his own hand, trembling. He admits to himself that he's going crazy without her. The Demon King is completely lovesick and tormented. And just outside the door, his little sister watches, her heart burning with jealousy. She seethes, wondering why he likes that woman and not her. After all, she was supposed to be the other half of his soul fragment, the one most compatible with him. She curses the accident that put his soul fragment into another woman's body. Now she's stuck like this, never growing up, while Nebby gets everything that was meant to be hers. Just then, a servant reports that everything is ready. A wicked plan begins to form in the little sister's mind. Meanwhile, Tatos gets an update from his priest. They have a location and will arrive to get Nebby in 3 days. He smiles, genuinely happy for the first time in ages, excited to see his love again. But his sister overhears and panics, knowing she has to stop him from getting to Nebby. A devious idea sparks in her mind. Saintesses are always accompanied by a knight, aren't they? If she can just make Nebby enjoy herself with her knight, Tatos will be disgusted and won't want her anymore. The perfect chaotic plan to ruin our girl's life. 3 days later, Tatos has left the land of night, and his sister knows it's the perfect time to cast her spell. She stands in the center of a glowing magic circle, using her own blood to activate the forbidden magic. The little demon princess begins her dark incantation. She knows that since Nebby has the night god's fragments in her body, she can use their connection to control her. Her eyes glow with terrifying purple energy. Miles away, our poor heroine collapses on her bed, completely exhausted. She's been training like crazy with her knight, Tylo, who keeps pushing her to focus and try harder. The intense practice with the special training sword has wiped her out. She moans that she never wants to move again and just wants to sleep forever, but Tylo gently suggests she should take a bath first. He gives her a warm, encouraging smile, but our girl is just too drained to move. And then it happens, her eyes flash a sinister shade of purple. The spell worked. Back in her room, the sister smirks victoriously as a possessed Nebby suddenly sits up, asking Tylo to carry her to the bath. The poor boy is flustered by the sudden request, but dutifully agrees. He gently scoops our girl into his arms. In the bathroom, the ever-respectful Tylo has his back turned, explaining that he'll cover his eyes as she requested. He ties a blindfold over his eyes, the perfect gentleman. But the possessed Nebby just scoffs, thinking he's a prude before ordering him to start washing her. She grabs his hand, pulling him closer, and presses his hand against her face, a move that is so not like our girl. She guides his hand down to her collarbone, purring that he needs to wash every single part of her. The blindfolded knight can only obey, his face turning red. This chaotic imposter starts making scandalous noises, clearly trying to frame him. She leans in, whispering that this isn't enough. She demands he drop the formalities and call her by her name, getting dangerously close to his face. Then comes the final blow, "I want you to kiss me." Tylo freezes, completely and utterly shocked by her bold demand. "Kiss me," she commands, it's an order, and our poor blindfolded knight can only obey. He leans in, completely under her spell. But then, with a flick of her wrist, she pulls the blindfold away. He opens his eyes, a little dazed and confused. He immediately panics, apologizing for seeing anything he shouldn't have. But our girl just leans in closer, purring, "I said call me Nebby." Her hand traces a path across his chiseled chest as she asks, "And did I tell you to stop?" He trembles under her touch, completely at her mercy. She goes in for a savage little bite on his neck, and his eyes fly open in shock. He breathes out her name, completely lost in the moment. And she just coos back, "I'm here." The smirk on her face is pure wickedness. She presses him against the wall, the situation escalating at a chaotic pace. "My man is getting absolutely dominated right now." She starts to take off her dress, whispering his name like a siren's call. All he can think is that Nebby is calling his name, and he's never felt happier. But hold on a second, Nebby's inner thoughts are way more sinister. Completely immersed, she thinks, it seems even the Holy Order of Knights can't resist desire. And look at those glowing purple eyes. The plan is simple. Let him be completely indulged by this body and then he'll stay far away from Tados. But as this imposter holds him close, the real Nebby starts to fight back. "Who's controlling my body?" she screams in her own mind. The possessor is shocked. Her consciousness should be completely suppressed by me now. "Our girl isn't having any of it. Get out, leave my body," she roars. And just like that, somewhere else, a pink-haired girl violently coughs up blood. "I've been expelled. How is this possible?" Her dark magic ritual has backfired spectacularly, leaving her and her creepy, bloody teddy bear defeated. The magic circle shatters, but not before the cursed bear's eyes glow an ominous red. Back in the room, the real Nebby shoves Tylo away, snapping out of the haze. He's completely bewildered, while our girl is horrified, realizing someone had taken her for a joyride. She looks at her own hands, trembling, a wave of shock washing over her. Tylo just stands there, stiff and worried, not understanding the sudden change. But instead of being angry, this sweet boy immediately gets on his knees, begging, "Nebby, please punish me. Our girl is just like, Tylo, what are you doing?" He thinks it's all his fault, that he scared her. Bless his pure, innocent heart. She tells him to stand up, explaining that her mind suddenly became chaotic and she couldn't control herself. He still blames himself for making an unreasonable request. But Nebby sets the record straight. "That wasn't my intention," she insists. "I should be the one apologizing to you." He just looks at her, his concern so genuine it hurts. She makes him promise that if she ever acts like that again, he has to stop her, even if he has to knock her out or tie her up. He looks so serious, promising he would never hurt her. "But I will stop you," he vows. He feels a strange tightness in his chest, a feeling he doesn't understand. To lighten the mood, she tells him, "Call me Nebby," and he agrees with the softest voice. He even gives her a tiny, heart-melting smile. The tension is still thick in the air, and our girl can't help but blush at the sight of him. So she does the only logical thing and adorably kicks him out of her room. Once he's gone, she collapses, sighing about how embarrassing that whole ordeal was. She racks her brain, trying to figure out who that girl's voice belonged to and why she was trying to seduce Tylo. But one thing is for sure, she won't let it happen again. If that spirit tries to control her, she'll expel it with everything she's got. She puts on a brave face, thinking that as long as it's not the demon Tados, she can handle anything. And right on cue, a bell begins to ring throughout the temple. She looks out her window, wondering what the commotion is about. A guard informs her that a new saint has been brought back. She peeks over the railing to see who it is. Down below, a man with striking silver hair and piercing red eyes pauses, as if he can feel her gaze, and looks directly up at her. Her blood runs cold. It's Tatos, the one person she just said she was afraid of. The look on her face says it all. She is absolutely, positively, royally screwed. Our girl is absolutely floored. How could he have gotten in? Wasn't there supposed to be a barrier? And why in the world is Tatos here, of all places, posing as the new saint? Tylo rushes to her side, his voice laced with concern. "Nebby, where did you get hurt? Are you okay?" She tries to brush it off, her mind reeling. It has to be a mistake, she must have seen it wrong. Tylo asks where they took the so-called new saint. Nebby figures he's probably with the high deacon. Without a second thought, she declares they're going there right now. She marches up to the high deacon's office, ready for a confrontation. Walking in, she sees the man himself, and her worst fears are confirmed. The silver-haired pretty boy smirks. "So you came specifically to see me, Chief Saintess Nebby." He smoothly takes her hand before she can even protest. And with a practice charm, he introduces himself as Tados while planting a kiss on her knuckles. Her heart stops. It's really him, the leader of the demons. A nearby priest scolds Tados for his frivolous actions, reminding him this isn't some underground casino. Tados just shrugs it off. "Sorry, it's a habit I forgot." Our girl forces a smile, trying to play it cool. "Oh, it's okay, I understand." But inside, she's panicking. This is the enemy of the Demon King. What is his game? The other priests are confused by her reaction, asking why she's acting like she doesn't know him. She turns to her ever-loyal knight. "Tylo, can you recognize who this person is?" Surely Tylo, who fought him head-on, would never forget that face. But Tylo stares blankly and says, "I don't know him, I've never seen him before." Our girl is completely stunned. Is there something wrong with her perception? Is she going crazy? No, she has to tell the high deacon the truth about this imposter. But when she tries to speak, her mouth is sealed shut. She can't make a sound. Tatos leans in, feigning concern. "Nebby, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" But before the creep can get any closer, Tylo shoves him back. "Stay away from MS Nebby." Tatos just lets out a condescending little HMPH. He sneers, "Can knights be so rude to saint?" Tylo's response is absolutely savage. "I am only loyal to MS Nebby, others are not within my consideration." The two alpha males have a stare down, and Nebby realizes Tatos has magically sealed her mouth. This lunatic will do anything when he's angry. She panics, thinking he might actually attack Tylo right here. Thinking fast, she fakes a dramatic coughing fit to break the tension. It works. Tylo's attention is immediately on her, his worry overriding his anger. Later that night, Tatos sneaks into her room, watching her sleep. "Nebby, you're so cute," he whispers. He rests his head by her pillow, completely mesmerized. "Just looking at you like this makes me feel really good." He promises to stay and watch over her, which is 5 shades of creepy. Suddenly, our girl stirs in her sleep, and she hugs him. Tatos is in utter shock. "Nebby actually hugged me first." He's absolutely beaming, settling in to enjoy the moment. The next morning, Nebby wakes up feeling more rested than she has in a long time. She can't remember the last time she slept so soundly, but she feels like she had a strange dream. In it, someone was holding her, their gentle voice soothing her to sleep. An image of Tatos flashes in her mind. No way, it had to be a dream, right? The figure definitely wasn't Tylo. Speaking of whom, where is he? She looks around the room and finds her poor knight crumpled on the floor, looking dazed. "I'm here." She asks him why he's on the floor. He has no idea, but he feels like someone kicked him. Yeah, we can guess who. Suddenly, a voice from the next room promises to keep a secret for a Mr. Tatos. Nebby freezes. It's Tatos' voice. Is he living in the room right next to hers? A knock on the door confirms her fears. It's him inviting her to breakfast. He's so smug about it, knowing she's trapped. Tylo offers to get rid of him, but our girl knows it's pointless. No, let him in. She reasons that if he's already in the Holy Order, there's nowhere to run. She might as well find out what he wants. Tatos walks in and immediately dismisses Tylo with a condescending glare. Tylo stands his ground, introducing himself. Tatos gives him a look that could curdle milk. He then orders Tylo not to go anywhere without his permission. The absolute audacity. Turning to Nebby, his whole demeanor changes. "Good morning, dear Nebby," he says, asking why her knight is still here. He invades her personal space, whispering, "We're having a conversation." As an outsider, of course, he can't listen. The air is thick with tension as he corners her. Our girl doesn't back down. She gets straight to the point, demanding to know why he disguised himself to enter the Holy Order, but he just flips the question back on her. Flustered, she stammers that she doesn't know. He closes the distance, tilting her chin up as he delivers the bombshell. "I came here to pursue you." Our poor girl trembles, pleading with him not to lie to her. But he just grabs her, his voice low and dangerous as he insists his goal has always been her. Nebby knows arguing with this man is pointless. Suddenly, the door bangs open, and Tylo's voice cuts through the tension, demanding to know how Tatos managed to disguise himself as a saint. Tatos smirks, revealing his true identity as the Demon King, for whom confusing mortals is child's play. He even flexes a little demonic energy just to prove his point. As our girl threatens to expose him to the high deacon, Tatos puts on a masterclass in manipulation, looking genuinely hurt. Then he slams her against the wall, dropping the ultimate bombshell. He knows she's a fragment of the night god just like him. He goes full villain mode, threatening to slaughter the entire Holy Order if she dares to expose him, reminding her that a saintess's tears mean nothing to him. The sheer audacity on this man's face is off the charts. Nebby desperately cries out that he can't do it, but deep down, she knows this absolute madman is capable of anything. She tries to bargain, asking if he'll spare everyone as long as she keeps his demonic secret. He promises, claiming he only came here to willingly unite with her. Our girl immediately shuts that down with an impossible, but he just leans in closer, his eyes smoldering. Suddenly, she realizes she can't control her own body. "Tatos, what are you doing?" she gasps. And then the man starts taking his shirt off because of course he does. He grabs her wrist, his voice a husky whisper as he says, "Nebby, I'm seducing you." Her hand finds its way to his chest as if it has a mind of its own. Our girl is absolutely scandalized by his shamelessness. He keeps going, promising to show her the indulgence of desire. His whole vibe screaming, dangerously hot demon lord. And he's not wrong. He whispers that he wants her to be as obsessed with him as he is with her. That strange, overwhelming feeling is back. Her mind is screaming no, but her body is screaming yes. The two are locked in a heated embrace. And Nebby finally understands this must be the mutual attraction of their soul fragments. He breathes against her neck, telling her all this heat is her fault, and she feels herself about to lose control completely. The air is electric, the tension is unbearable. And just when things are about to get R-rated, knock knock, a maid is here to remind Nebby about the welcome ceremony. Tados looks absolutely devastated by the interruption, but promises they'll continue this next time. He gives her a quick, tantalizing kiss before he goes. Our poor girl collapses, her heart pounding. That was way too close. Tados snaps his fingers, opening the door to reveal Tylo, who's been standing guard this whole time. Tylo immediately calls out Nebby's name in concern. Tados, smooth as ever, reassures him she's fine, then cheekily comments that some things are easier to do without clothes on. He gives a smug little smile, thanking Tylo for guarding the door for them. The absolute savage whispers something intimidating as he walks past, leaving Tylo seething. Tylo is left fuming for a second before he regains his composure. He rushes inside to find Nebby crumpled on the floor. He helps her up, his eyes blazing with fury as he asks what that guy did to her. Tylo is ready to throw hands and teach Tatos a lesson, but Nebby frantically stops him, warning that provoking Tatos could get him killed. Tylo is stunned, wondering why on earth she's protecting the man who just assaulted her. Though confused, he backs down and agrees to get ready for the ceremony. Later at the Holy Order Hall, the welcome ceremony is in full swing. Tatos is being presented as the new saint, and our girl has the unfortunate duty of officially welcoming him. She has to place a ceremonial wreath on his head, and he looks far too pleased with himself. Her furious internal monologue says it all, of course not. The High Deacon gives a grand speech, welcoming Tatos as the new protector of humanity. Meanwhile, the other saintesses are gossiping about how the High Deacon seems to favor this new pretty boy. One of them looks on with suspicion. Nebby realizes Tatos must have used his demonic blood and disguised it as a holy weapon. And she understands why the High Deacon is so impressed. To him, a saint is just a tool to fight demons. Suddenly, Tatos' voice echoes in her mind, and she realizes with horror that he can hear her thoughts because their souls are connected. He immediately calls her out, asking what she meant by a saint is just a tool. But he just smiles mysteriously, telling her she'll find out later. The High Deacon continues his speech, ironically declaring that they will all work together to defeat the demon king, Tatos. The dramatic irony is just chef's kiss asterisk. Tatos, playing the part of an innocent new saint, asks the High Deacon how they plan to defeat such a powerful foe. The High Deacon vows that they will give their all, promising to one day pierce the demon king's heart with a sword and make him suffer for his sins. Nebby is having a full-blown panic attack. The High Deacon is literally plotting to murder Tatos right in front of him, and she's sure the Demon King must be absolutely furious. The High Deacon tells our girl to sit down first. She and Tatos comply, though Tatos looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. The Deacon then tries to get Tatos' attention, shouting his name repeatedly. But Tatos is giving him the silent treatment, and the Deacon wonders if he's being ignored on purpose. And then this old man makes the biggest mistake of his life, running his mouth about the Demon King right in front of him, calling him a narrow-minded lunatic. Our girl frantically begs him to shut his trap, but it's too late. Tatos is already thinking about all the ways he's going to end this man's life. The death glare is on, and the temperature in the room drops by 20 degrees. Just as he's about to make his move, our girl grabs his hand, trying to de-escalate this chaotic situation. She reminds him he promised not to hurt anyone, but Tatos is still fuming, practically vibrating with rage. He looks at her, a wicked glint in his eyes, and says there might be one way to calm him down. And that is if she kisses him. This man has zero shame and I am here for it. Our girl is absolutely scandalized, pointing out that they are in a hall full of people. He just smirks, twisting her words, asking if it would be okay if no one was watching. Before she can even protest, he's already casting a spell. throwing up a sparkly pink privacy barrier around them. He plays the good guy, saying he won't force her, but then immediately follows up with a threat, saying the only other option is for his anger to be calmed by blood. Faced with that lovely choice, our girl shouts for him to wait. She knows what she has to do. She leans in and gives him a quick peck, asking if that's enough. "Oh, sweet summer child, you think that's enough for Demon King?" He immediately tells her it will never be enough, and pulls her in for a real kiss. The man is absolutely feral. Our girl is internally combusting, mortified that he's doing this in public, barrier or not. What kind of hobby is this? She screams in her head. And of course, he hears her, pulling back just enough to whisper that her flustered reactions are way bigger when there's an audience. She completely forgot he's a walking, talking mind reader. He just smiles, saying he's happy, and pulls her into a tight hug. As he holds her, she can feel his heart pounding against her chest. She's shocked, but quickly dismisses it. There's no way the Demon King's heart would race so easily, right? Just like that, the barrier dissolves. The High Deacon, completely oblivious, suddenly changes his tune, agreeing that the Demon King must be stopped and that they should work together. Tatos just gives him a pleasant smile, saying he's glad they are on the same page. Our girl is completely baffled by his sudden mood swing. And then it hits her, he wasn't angry at all. The entire dramatic performance was a ridiculously elaborate trick to get her to kiss him. The deacon lectures Nebby, telling her to take good care of their new recruit. Tatos leans in, calling her a scoundrel, and she just sighs, accepting her fate. He gets even closer, promising to show her all his skills later. Our girl, desperate to change the subject, asks him about the demon ability to possess people. He immediately gets suspicious, his expression hardening. He leans in close, his voice low as he tells her not to move. He can sense a faint, lingering demonic aura on her. His eyes flare a dangerous red as he recognizes the signature, Lumia. He demands to know what happened when she was possessed. Our poor girl has to confess that the demon used her body to seduce Tylo, but she regained control just in time. Tatos' face is a mask of cold fury, his silence more terrifying than any outburst. He snaps his fingers and a gentle light envelops her. He tells her not to worry and that she'll be able to sleep well now. Nebby is stunned. How did he know she's been suffering from insomnia? He tells her he has to go and walks away. She watches him leave, realizing two things. He wasn't the one who possessed her, and he is absolutely livid. He knows exactly who did it. But before he can go on a rampage, a new girl blocks his path, introducing herself as Natasha. She announces that she plans to beat Nebby and become the chief saintess. And once she does, he'll see who he really should be following. Tatos isn't even remotely impressed. He shuts her down instantly, telling her she could never beat Nebby. He goes on, his voice dripping with contempt, saying she can't be compared to Nebby in any way. Natasha is furious, but before she can even retort, his eyes glow with demonic power. "Shut up and get lost," he snarls, unleashing a wave of pure killing intent. The poor girl is paralyzed with fear, collapsing to the floor as he walks past without a second glance. She trembles on the ground, wondering what just happened. Completely shattered, our girl watches the aftermath, realizing the rumors about Tados being a playful fool are dead wrong. Meanwhile, in the land of night, the real culprit Lumia is having an absolute meltdown. She screams that she'll make Nebby's life a living hell, throwing a destructive tantrum, but suddenly her own magic turns against her, binding her in the air. Because it's not her magic at all, it's Tados, and he has come to collect a debt. With a surge of dark magic, the brother yanks his own sister into the air. He demands to know if she was the one who possessed Nebby and seduced Tylo. With cold, furious eyes, he glares down at her, waiting for an answer. And the confession comes spilling out. She was jealous that some other girl won his heart. She starts ranting, "I'm the one closest to you, we grew up together." She flashes back to a time when he held her as a child, when things were simple. She wails that he used to only care about her. But now some soul fragment is taking everything that should be hers, and she just can't accept it. But Brother Dearest is having none of her obsessive whining. He tells her coldly, "Lumia, I don't belong to you, and you have no right to interfere in my affairs." He declares that Nebby is the woman he's chosen, and no one can ever replace her. Then he unceremoniously hurls her across the room. And for good measure, he places a magical tracker on her, telling her he'll now know every single time she uses magic. He gives her one final, chilling warning. If she ever dares to harm Nebby again, he won't be so merciful. Her punishments, grounded for a month to think about what a chaotic mess she's made. He slams the door, leaving her in stunned silence. She finally explodes in a rage, screaming, "I'm your sister, why are you treating me like this?" But as she wallows in her self-pity, the teddy bear on the floor begins to glow with an eerie light. The bear morphs and transforms into a perfect copy of her brother. She's completely stunned, realizing her teddy bear just came to life. He explains that when her brother cast the spell, a drop of her blood landed on him. That was enough for him to gain life and transform into the person she loves most, a living, breathing substitute. He immediately kneels, pledging his undying loyalty to his new master. He takes her hand, his devotion absolute. He tells her he was born for her and will do anything, even if it means just being a substitute. A wicked smile spreads across her face. This could work. She names him Tatos and declares that with him by her side, she won't be lonely anymore. And just like that, the gears start turning in her head. If she can't use magic without her brother finding out, she'll just have her new magical boy toy do it for her. Elsewhere, under the pale moonlight, Tylo is training relentlessly. He's determined to get stronger to finally beat him so that Nebby will finally notice him. But speak of the devil, our girl appears right behind him. He's flustered, thinking she was asleep, but she calls him out for his secret midnight training sessions. He quickly apologizes, worried he disturbed her sleep. But she just smiles, holding out a warm cup of milk for him. She admits she was worried about him, seeing how he's been pushing himself lately. He's completely stunned. She was worried about him. He grabs the cup, his happiness overflowing. He chugs the entire thing in one go, much to her amusement. He grins, telling her the hot milk from her is already working its magic. Later, they sit together on a bench, and he brings up the big competition happening tomorrow. He can sense her nervousness, and she admits he's right. She tells him it's the last day, and they need to stabilize their link one more time. He pulls her into a comforting embrace, reassuring her that she's trained hard and is more than ready. He promises to share all his power with her, leaving no room for failure. She thanks him, but a shadow of doubt remains. For her, this competition is a matter of life and death. The night passes, and the day of the competition arrives. The crowd is buzzing with anticipation. This is the first time two saintesses will compete for the top spot. Some think Natasha's ruthless ambition will win the day, but others believe Nebby is simply too powerful. Her brother watches from the sidelines, thinking this is all just a big test for Nebby anyway. The high deacon calls for the competition to begin. A girl steps forward, ready for whatever comes her way. But Natasha is already running her mouth, declaring that she'll be the new chief saintess by the end of the day. Nebby just scoffs, "Win against me first before you say that." Natasha sneers, confident in her victory. After all, archery is her specialty. Nebby readies her bow, knowing Tylo's power is with her. But Natasha suddenly calls out, asking the deacon to make things more challenging. Nebby is rightfully annoyed, changing the rules at the last second. Seriously. Natasha taunts her, asking if she's scared, then proposes a round of blindfolded archery. The crowd gasps at the sudden change. The high deacon strokes his chin, considering the proposal. And to everyone's shock, he agrees. Natasha smirks and goes first, letting someone tie her blindfold. She draws her bow, looking utterly confident. A perfect shot straight to the bullseye. The spectators are in awe of her skill, whispering about how difficult this challenge is. Even the brother looks a little worried now. Our girl starts to panic. She's never practiced this before. Just as she's about to fall apart, a familiar voice whispers from behind. It's Tylo, telling her to trust him and, more importantly, to trust herself. Tylo casually strolls over and grabs not one, not two, but 3 arrows, announcing his chaotic plan. He hands them to our girl, who is looking at him like he just grew a second head. 3 arrows at once. She asks if that's a bit much, but Tylo is just radiating smug confidence. Our girl takes a deep breath. Tylo has done his best, so now she has to give it her all. She decides to put her full faith in him, because she trusts Tylo more than she trusts herself, and then he blindfolds her because of course he does. The crowd absolutely loses it, shooting 3 arrows while blindfolded. Natasha looks on, convinced our girl has finally snapped. But as her eyes are covered, the world becomes quiet. She focuses, sensing everything around her. Tylo watches, knowing his power is flowing into her. A golden light connects them, empowering the arrows she holds. Tados, the second male lead, watches from the sidelines, finally understanding. He was worried for nothing. It looks like she doesn't need him anymore. And you can just feel the puppy dog sadness radiating off him. With a confident smirk, our girl lets the arrows fly. Whoosh. They slice through the air and land with a satisfying thud, all 3 right in the bullseye. Natasha's jaw hits the floor. Tados immediately starts bragging, "That's right, my Nebby is just that incredible." Our girl ignores him, turning to Tylo with a dazzling smile. He smiles back, telling her he knew she could do it all along, and the sparks are flying. Tados is fuming in the background. This Tylo guy is getting more and more annoying. Even the Pope is silently judging this whole love triangle situation. Natasha is practically vibrating with rage. She may have won this round, but the next one won't be so easy. And just like that, it's time for the swordsmanship duel. The crowd murmurs, worried the 2 saintesses might actually hurt each other. But nope, the swords are sealed to prevent any real harm. Natasha calls for the sword her little lackey Eric prepared. The poor guy looks like he's about to wet himself as he hands over the case. Natasha takes the sword with a wicked grin. She's planning on making this an absolute nightmare for our girl. And she shoots a venomous glare at Nebby and Tylo. The second round begins, a simple test of strength. First one to knock the sword from their opponent's hand wins. A girl readies her stance, feeling a little more confident after her archery win. She remembers all the intense training sessions she had with Tylo. He told her to rest, but she was too determined, pushing herself to the limit for a chance to win. Natasha, meanwhile, looks like she's about to commit a felony. The duel starts. Natasha lunges with blinding speed. Their swords clash with a deafening clang. Nebby manages to block the attack, surprising everyone. Tados watches intently, noting that Nebby must have gone through some insane training to reach this level. Natasha puts all her weight into it, trying to overpower our girl. Tados just smirks, already convinced this round is in the bag for his girl. But as they're locked in a power struggle, a sinister purple energy begins to glow from Natasha's sword. Tados' eyes go wide. What is that? Natasha growls that she won't lose. Our girl feels the sudden, unnatural surge in Natasha's strength. Tylo sees Nebby starting to falter. He knows he needs to send her more power. But as he tries to summon it, nothing happens. He's completely tapped out. Nebby is pushed back, her feet dragging on the ground. Natasha unleashes the last of her dark power. Our poor girl has no strength left. Natasha's face twists into a victorious, evil sneer. It's over, Nebby. Tylo screams her name in desperation. But just as she's about to fall, a figure flashes past. It's Tatos. He sweeps in and catches her in his arms. He holds her close and whispers, "Don't be afraid, Nebby, I'm here." Our girl is shocked to feel a presence right behind her. It's Tatos. She panics, thinking everyone can see the high priest cozying up to her during a duel. But he calmly reassures her that it's just an illusion he's projecting. To everyone else, he's still in the audience. Natasha lunges forward with her sword, but our girl, guided by Tatos' presence, dodges it with inhuman speed. Tatos steadies her, holding her close. He whispers in her ear, "Nebby, do you trust me?" She grits her teeth. "I don't really have a choice, do I?" A gasp ripples through the crowd. Suddenly, Nebby's entire aura shifts, becoming powerful and overwhelming. She meets Natasha's next attack head-on. Their swords clash in a brilliant flash of light. With a single powerful move, Nebby sends Natasha's sword flying through the air. And bam, Natasha hits the floor, completely defeated. The crowd is stunned as Nebby is declared the winner. Tatos, still invisible beside her, cheekily asks, "Nebby, how did I do?" He leans in close, his voice a low whisper, "Give me a reward." Our girl whips around, flustered, but he's already gone. Where is he? She thinks, completely bewildered. She's left standing alone, victorious but confused. And then she sees him back in the crowd, giving her a little wave and a smile. That sly fox, he totally tricked her. Meanwhile, another knight rushes to help the sobbing Natasha. Tylo's ever the loyal knight immediately checks on Nebby. Natasha can't believe it, sobbing that she's not as good as Nebby. The High Deacon's aide confirms the match is over and Nebby remains the chief saintess. But another knight points out how strange Natasha was acting. He says her demeanor was crazed and aggressive, almost like something was influencing her. The aide brings Natasha's sword to the High Deacon for inspection. The deacon examines the blade, his expression growing dark. He realizes the sword hasn't undergone the special treatment to make it safe for sparring. This blade could have easily and seriously harmed a saintess. Natasha freezes, the horrifying realization dawning on her. The High Deacon's voice booms across the courtyard. "Natasha, did you want to spar with Nebby or did you want to kill her?" Natasha desperately tries to explain, saying she only wanted to beat Nebby, nothing more. But the aide isn't buying it. "Can mere words prove your innocence?" He presses her, asking if she truly had no intention of hurting Nebby. Another knight reveals that Natasha had confessed she felt a strong urge to make Nebby disappear. Natasha is horrified, wondering if she really could have wanted to kill our girl. Tados watches grimly, knowing that harming a saintess is a serious crime. Suddenly, Natasha's personal knight Eric shouts out, "It wasn't a mess, Natasha, I tampered with the sword." Natasha is in shock. "Eric, what are you saying? Why would you do this?" Tylo goes absolutely feral, his eyes glowing with rage. With a loud BAM, he sends Eric flying across the ground with a single savage kick. He draws his sword, his voice dripping with ice. "I won't let anyone who harms a mess, Nebby, get away." But Natasha throws herself in front of Eric, protecting him. "If you dare hurt my knight, I will kill you." The High Deacon is asked for his judgment on the matter. He states the law of the Holy Order clearly. Deliberately harming a saintess is a capital offense. The crowd murmurs in shock. Eric is the first knight in history to attempt this. Natasha falls to her knees, begging for the deacon to punish her instead. But Eric pushes her back, insisting it was all his doing. Just as the deacon is about to order Eric's execution, Nebby shouts, "Wait." She argues that since she wasn't actually hurt, the accusation of attempted murder should be invalid. Tylo and Tados both look at her, surprised by her intervention. The High Deacon asks, "Nebby, you want me to spare Eric?" Our girl explains that as a knight loyal to his master, Eric is technically an excellent knight. Moreover, his true intention wasn't to harm her but to help Natasha. Natasha looks at her, completely stunned by this act of mercy. The High Deacon considers her words in silence. Finally, he makes his decision. Eric's capital offense is pardoned, but he must be punished in the dungeon. Tylo approaches our girl confused. "Ms. Nebby, why are you pleading for Eric?" The knights and saintesses raise their glasses for a toast. After the absolute chaos of the competition, everyone is ready to unwind at the annual party. Our girl is finally getting a moment to breathe, sitting with Tylo, her new official knight. He congratulates her on the win, and you can see our girl is practically glowing. But Tylo is thinking to himself that this is exactly what he's supposed to do, which is a little ominous. They clink their glasses together, but Nebby's mind is elsewhere. She can't stop thinking about how Tatos both helped her and totally tricked her in the end. And speak of the devil, Tylo immediately asks if she's seen Tatos anywhere. He glances over his shoulder just in time to see Tatos leaving the hall. But this snake lies right to her face, saying he doesn't see him anywhere. Suddenly, her rival Natasha appears at their table, asking for a word. She brings good news. She convinced the high deacon to release Eric in a month. But our girl is rightfully confused, asking why Natasha would help them. Natasha explains that Eric's crime wasn't worth a death sentence, and she didn't want to see anyone from the order die. But of course, there's another, more important reason. She smirks, saying now our girl will owe her a favor. And what is this big favor? She just wants to make peace. Nebby is completely stunned by this turn of events. Natasha calls her foolish for using her one favor on something so simple, but she also admits that she lost and was being petty before. She even apologizes for Eric's behavior, and they shake on it. It seems Natasha is a surprisingly straightforward person after all. And our girl realizes she's actually pretty honest. With that, Nebby has saved Eric, gotten rid of a major rival, and kept her identity safe. A total win. Just then, another saintess approaches and shyly asks if she can chat with Nebby. Our girl, trying to be more friendly, happily agrees. And this opens the floodgates. Suddenly, everyone wants to talk to her, even challenging her to a drinking contest. Our once isolated heroine is now the life of the party. She ends up having the best night ever, laughing and making friends. For the first time, she feels truly happy and relaxed, like she finally belongs in the holy order. Meanwhile, outside under the moonlight, someone is investigating the training grounds. It's Tados, and he can still feel the residual magic from the fight. He confirms his suspicions. Eric was being controlled by someone else. Tados grits his teeth, knowing the holy order isn't the righteous place Nebby thinks it is, and vowing that she'll find out the truth soon enough. Back in a lavish office, the high deacon gets a report that all the saintesses have returned to their rooms. He specifically asks about Nebby. The attendant is surprised to report that not only did she participate, but she also reconciled with Natasha, acting like a normal person for once. The attendant calls him out, realizing the deacon's suspicions were just an excuse to hypnotize Eric and set this whole thing up. We get a flashback of the deacon using his dark magic, and he admits it was all a test to see if Nebby still had her power in the face of true danger. He then reveals a special box. Inside is a single, deadly-looking arrow. The deacon explains it's an attack arrow made from Nebby's own blood, and it's several times stronger against demons than before. This means Nebby's blood has become even more potent. The deacon is pleased she still meets the requirements for a saintess, but his aide is worried about Tylo's influence changing her. The deacon, however, thinks this is a good thing. He explains that a person without desires is strong, but once they develop feelings, they also develop weaknesses. Speaking of feelings, Nebby decides she should thank Tatos for his help, even if he has a walking headache. She makes her way to his room and gives a polite knock. The door swings open to reveal Tatos, fresh from a bath, wearing nothing but a loose robe. Our girl is flustered and speechless. He just smirks, saying he was bathing. Then this man has the audacity to suggest they bathe together, claiming it's a common custom. Sir, this is a holy order, not a spa. Nebby immediately tries to bolt, but he's too fast, grabbing her wrist to stop her from leaving. She looks up at him, completely trapped, and that's when she notices a nasty gash on his arm. He plays it cool, claiming he got it while helping her fight Natasha. But our girl's no fool. She points out that it's still bleeding, and he offers a weak excuse about scrubbing too hard in the bath. She playfully scolds him, asking how the great demon king could not even notice he was hurt. He immediately sees his chance and tells her to get the first aid kit from his room. As she turns to get it, he gives the most self-satisfied, manipulative smile you've ever seen. And here's why. 10 minutes ago, he sensed her coming to his room. And this absolute psycho took a magic blade and deliberately sliced his own arm open. All while thinking, she wouldn't just ignore me if I'm hurt this badly, right? The level of chaotic scheming is off the charts. He whimpers for her to be gentle, but our girl Tatos is having none of his theatrics. She threatens to stop applying the medicine if he keeps making weird noises, but he insists that it genuinely hurts. Yeah, right, this man lives for the drama. Suddenly, he gets all cheeky, pointing out that she's the one who's laughing. But then Nebby gets serious, admitting that even though he's done some crazy stuff, she's grateful he saved her from getting her identity exposed. For the first time, she genuinely thanks him, and Tatos' little demon heart just about explodes in his chest. He leans in close, getting cocky. I thought after this you'd have already fallen for me. Oh honey, no. Our girl immediately delivers a reality check by pinching his wound hard, and he yelps in real pain this time. He cries out, clutching his chest dramatically. What's wrong with you, she asks, completely unimpressed. He claims she injured his chest with her powerful pinch. Falling for his act, she leans in to check on him. And just like that, he's got her. He grabs her wrist and yanks her down onto the bed. With our heroine pinned beneath him, she demands to know what he's up to now. He gives her a smoldering look and purrs, can't you tell I'm seducing you? He starts laying it on thick, whispering about how she's the only one who drives him crazy, and that he thinks about her all the times. As he confesses his like for her, Nebby feels that familiar, uncontrollable heat rise in her body. He offers her the world, promising to make her the happiest person alive if she returns with him. But our girl sees right through his game, calling him out for only loving the night god fragment inside her, not the real her. Tados is genuinely confused, arguing that to him, she is the fragment. He just doesn't get it. Fed up, Nebby shoves him away and declares, no, I am Nebby. She lays down the cold, hard truth. Her body might be drawn to him because of the fragments, but she herself doesn't like him. Not even a little bit. The rejection hits him like a truck as she walks out, slamming the door behind her after making him promise not to harm the holy order. Tatos is left completely shattered. The Demon King, who gets everything he wants, is on the floor, wondering why her words hurt his heart so much. Outside, Nebby is also confused by his heartbroken expression. She expected anger or a smug threat, not sadness. She figures he's just a spoiled king who's never been rejected before. Just then, she spots a familiar figure. It's Tylo, who has been sitting on the floor waiting for her this whole time. He explains he saw her go in and got worried. He admits it plainly, but it was more than just worry. Seeing her with Tatos sparked a fierce irritation in his heart. He was so anxious, thinking she might not come out of that room tonight. So he could do nothing but wait for her, restless and pained. Our girl snaps him out of his thoughts and they agree to head back. She gives him a warm, reassuring smile, and Tylo feels a wave of relief wash over him. Meanwhile, back in the land of night, a certain demon king is having a full-blown magical temper tantrum, his chaotic energy destroying the room. His attendant cautiously asks if things went poorly with the holy order. Tatos, looking like a kicked puppy, just mutters, Nebby doesn't like me. His aide is completely baffled, reminding him that he doesn't need her to like him. He just needs her to come with him willingly. But the heartbroken king looks down and confesses, but I want Nebby to like me, to smile only for me. Our girl is enjoying a nice meal, thinking about how delicious the food from the holy order is. But her joy is short-lived as she immediately starts worrying about gaining weight. Just then, her guardian knight Tylo appears with some hot milk, and she sweetly invites him to join her. But before he can even sit, a new challenger enters the ring. It's Tatos, who smugly reminds them that knights can't dine with saintesses. He then slides into the seat anyway, claiming he'll just keep her company while she eats, much to her surprise. Our girl is baffled, pointing out he's never even stepped foot in the cafeteria before. Tatos leans in close, purring that he needs to eat too, but there's something else he'd rather devour. And yup, he means her. He straight up says his desire for her is stronger than any food. Our poor heroine is flustered, realizing her stern lecture from yesterday did absolutely nothing to deter this man. Tylo, ever the loyal knight, steps in and tells Tatos to back off, questioning when a mere knight got the right to order a saint around. Tatos just gives him a smug, infuriating little smile. And the tension between the two is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Tatos then has the audacity to grab our girl's arm, claiming it was his idea to come here. His eyes flash a dangerous red, showing he's not playing around. He then tries to stir up drama, asking if she likes Tylo's style, which makes poor Tylo blush furiously. The absolute madman then offers to replace Tylo as her guardian knight. Our girl panics, knowing this chaotic man would actually do it. To de-escalate the situation, she quickly denies having any feelings for Tylo, which leaves her loyal knight looking absolutely crushed. Tatos smirks, saying someone like him suits her best, but Tylo has had enough and tells Nebby they should leave. She agrees and they walk away, leaving a victorious Tatos to snack on her leftover food. As they're walking away, someone comes barreling down the hall. Bam, a small boy crashes right into Tylo and goes flying. Our girl immediately rushes to his side, asking if he's okay. She reaches out a gentle hand to help him up, giving his shoulder a comforting pat, but the boy violently recoils, screaming, "Don't touch me." He slaps her hand away with shocking force, sending our heroine tumbling to the floor. The boy looks absolutely terrified, while she just worries if he's hurt himself. Tylo helps her up, but our girl is more concerned about the boy, trying to check his hand for injuries. She gently tells him he looks hurt, but he just screams at her again, raising his hand to strike her. But before he can, his wrist is caught in a vice-like grip. It's Tatos, and his eyes are practically glowing as he warns the kid not to dare hurt her. He yanks the poor boy up by his collar, looking absolutely murderous. Our girl quickly tells him to let the boy go. Tados, ever the drama king, immediately releases him with a theatrical flourish. Just then another man rushes over, calling the boy Mr. Noah and asking why he ran off. He apologizes profusely for Noah's behavior and says he'll take him back now. As they leave, the tension finally breaks. Our girl asks Tylo who that boy was, but he has no idea. Tados, however, explains that Noah is a special saint. He tells them that like other saints, Noah's tears can be used as weapons. But there's just one tiny problem: the boy can't cry. Nebby is horrified that Tatos finds this interesting, thinking it's just plain sad. But the whole situation seems unbelievable. Another saintess pipes up, confirming Tatos' story. Apparently, Noah joined while our girl was away and has been living in isolation ever since. Nebby wonders why on earth they'd make him live alone. The other girl explains it's because he has a violent temper and attacks people, so he's under the care of a special physician. She asks if he gets hurt often, and the other saintess spits her tea, insisting that's impossible. She claims Noah is protected by physicians and can't possibly get hurt. Tatos scoffs at how great the Holy Order is, while the other girl defends it, saying their only purpose is to protect saints. Our girl is left completely confused, wondering if she misjudged the situation. But a deep sense of dread settles in her stomach. She just can't shake the feeling that something is terribly wrong. The next day, she's so worried about Noah that she couldn't sleep a wink. Deciding she has to see him for herself, she heads towards the medical department. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes from down the hall. Her head whips around, trying to find the source of the sound. It seems to be coming from the darkest, deepest part of the hallway. Nebby stalks down the empty hallway, following a sound that keeps vanishing. Suddenly, a nurse pops out of nowhere, asking our girl what she's looking at. Nebby explains she heard a noise, but the nurse just smiles sweetly and says it's a dead end. "You must have misheard," she says, her smile looking a little *2* friendly. Nebby plays it cool, pretending she must be hallucinating from lack of sleep. The nurse ushers her into the medical room for her checkup. But this checkup involves a surprise blood draw, and our girl is absolutely terrified of needles. Her needle phobia is kicking in hard. The nurses prepare the equipment, completely unbothered by her panic. The doctor tries to soothe her, saying, "Don't be afraid, I've practiced," which is literally the least comforting thing you can say. Our poor heroine remembers Tylo's advice to just close her eyes, but her soul is already halfway out of her body. As the needle goes in, something feels terribly wrong. This isn't just her usual fear. A wave of agony washes over her. Her heart is hammering, and it feels like her very soul is being ripped apart. And just like that, it's over. Nebby sits up, completely dazed and confused by the bizarre experience. The nurse hands her a drink, tells her to rest, and then practically bolts out of the room, slamming the door behind her. And what was all that for? The nurse carefully places 2 vials of our girl's blood into a cooler. "That's a lot of blood," she mutters. "It should be enough. Enough for what?" She seals the suspicious cooler and leaves. Meanwhile, Nebby stumbles out of the room, feeling dizzy and like something is missing from inside her body. A terrible premonition washes over her. But just as panic sets in, Tados appears out of thin air. The moment he's near, the awful feeling vanishes completely. He smirks, asking why she let them draw her blood and what's with the getup. She fires back, asking him why he's dressed like he just rolled out of a romance novel cover. And I mean, the man is serving looks. "To seduce you, of course," he purrs, because he has absolutely zero chill. He slams her against the wall in a classic Cape Dawn move. But our girl is immune to his charms, shutting him down with a savage "I don't need it." Suddenly, a faint scream echoes through the hall. Tados immediately stops, his playful demeanor gone. Nebby asks if he heard it too. He thinks to himself that the sound is coming from underground, a sound Nebby shouldn't be able to hear. Our girl is so relieved she wasn't just imagining things. Tados gets a dangerous glint in his eye and asks if she wants to go investigate. Of course she does. A chaotic duo on a mission. Nebby points out that it's the dead end the nurse told her about. "Not necessarily," Tatos says with a smirk. He closes his eyes and unleashes a swirl of purple magic, which slithers across the floor and reveals the glowing outline of a hidden door. Nebby is completely stunned. Tatos casually points out the secret passage, explaining that people with secrets tend to build them. He invites her to explore the sketchy underground lair with him. As they descend, she asks why he's not surprised, and he just says his own palace is full of secret rooms. He then gets his flirt on again, offering to show her his secret passages one by one back at his place. She shuts that down with a swift "no need." Her face beat red. They continue deeper into the passage. Tatos grabs her hand, telling her to stay close. He leads her forward through the darkness, Pushing open a heavy hidden door, they step into a creepy dark room filled with strange tools and chemicals. "What is this place?" our girl whispers in horror. Tatos' expression darkens. "It's a torture chamber," he says grimly. He picks up a vial containing a cursed needle, explaining that it can move through a person's body and inflict unimaginable pain. The liquid inside glows with a sinister light. Nebby is horrified, assuming it's a weapon for demons. But Tatos drops a bombshell. Demon slaying requires a saintess's power. This is for torturing humans. The horrifying implication hits her like a truck. She freezes, her blood running cold. At that exact moment, magical chains erupt from the floor around Tatos' feet. It's a trap. He shoves Nebby out of the way just in the nick of time. The glowing purple chains whip up and wrap around him, binding him completely. Tatos lets out a grunt of pain, his body suddenly restrained by glowing purple chains. Our girl rushes in to find him bound in the middle of the room, demanding to know what's happening. The magical chains hiss menacingly, and our girl gasps when she sees he's been completely tied up, shirtless and everything. He explains that the room has a defensive formation designed to trap any intruders who dare to enter. She immediately worries, asking if the chains hurt him. He plays it cool, of course, saying they're just a bit uncomfortable. When she asks if he can get out himself, he reveals that while he could break them, it would alert the trap's designer. The trigger point, he explains, is alive and has entered his body. He needs her to find it and pull it out to release the chains. Our girl is completely bewildered, reminding him she's just a regular human with zero magic-finding skills. Tatos has a simple, albeit spicy, solution. Hold his hand so he can transfer some magic, and then she'll have to touch his body to find it. The suggestion sounds so sus that she immediately gets flustered, accusing him of tricking her again. He insists he's telling the truth, looking as sincere as a man in magical bondage can. With a deep breath, our heroine decides to trust him and reaches out to touch his hand. Tatos smirks as she prepares herself, muttering that this is all just to help him unlock the chains. She hesitantly places her hand right on his chest, and he immediately lets out a very suggestive groan. She blushes furiously, asking if he really has to make sounds like that. He gives her a devilish look, claiming he simply can't help it. This man is a menace. He then tells her to try the left side and press a little harder. Our poor heroine is a stuttering mess, but she does as she's told, her own body starting to heat up uncontrollably from the contact. She thinks she needs to put some distance between them and fast. But then her eyes land on a tiny mark on his arms, a needle hole from a blood draw. She demands to know why he let them take his blood. And his answer just melts her heart. He says he wanted to feel what it's like for her to be with her in every way. But our girl is no fool. She wonders if this is just another one of his smooth lines to keep her hands on him. He insists that he means every word of it. With a sigh, she decides to believe him and steps in even closer. So close, in fact, that they are practically in a full-body embrace. "Nebby, what are you doing?" he asks, feigning innocence. "Just look at that smug face. He knows exactly what he's doing." She announces that since she can't find it in the front, she'll just have to check his back. He starts calling her name as she moves behind him, sweat beading on his skin. He urges her to press harder, and she snaps back that she's already pressing as hard as she can. Suddenly, she finds it, a glowing blue core of energy on his back. But just as she's about to grab it, the darn thing slips away and moves to his front again. He tells her he can feel it on his chest now. She's completely exasperated, wondering how she's supposed to grab the slippery thing. He warns her not to act rashly or they'll be discovered, so she takes a deep breath, preparing for round 2. She reaches out and her fingers make contact with the glowing blue energy on his abs. "Slowly pull it out," he coaches her through gritted teeth. But as she starts to extract the energy, she gets a terrible feeling that something is very, very wrong. An excruciating pain shoots through her. Her head feels like it's going to explode and her body is being torn apart. A vision of a glowing red heart flashes before her eyes. It feels like her own life force is being drained from her body as she clutches the blue flame. Tados tells her to endure the pain just a little longer. She holds on with all her might. And finally, the chains dissipate, but the effort causes her to collapse to the floor. Tados, now free, looks down at her unconscious form, appreciating her effort. He smiles, but his expression quickly turns to one of alarm. Something is wrong. He rushes to her side, trying to wake her up. Our poor girl is barely conscious, clutching her head in agony. She whimpers that it hurts so much, but being close to him makes the pain feel a little better. She grabs his hand, begging him to help her. He gently asks if she's sober now, trying to assess her condition. But she can only repeat that she feels terrible. He realizes she's completely lost her awareness. He sends a probe of magic into her body to see what's wrong. And the diagnosis is dire. The fragment of the night god's soul inside her is rampaging, tearing her apart from the inside. He knows with a sinking heart that she won't survive much longer like this. He pulls her into his arms, holding her close. He tells her tear-streaked face the truth. Her body is rejecting the fragment because she hasn't absorbed the aura from the other half. And with no other choice left, he leans in and kisses her, beginning the transfer himself. With a heavy heart, our girl makes her choice. I choose the second one. Tatos leans in, his voice a low purr. Really, that's such a pity. He pulls her into his arms, his chest warm against her back. It must be my fault, I guess I didn't try hard enough to tempt you. She struggles, pleading for him to let her go, but he holds her tight. He claims the soul fragment inside her is unstable and she needs to stay close to him. Suura, buddy. Our girl isn't buying this excuse for a second. Of course, he says smoothly, it's the only way you can absorb my aura. He then adds the spiciest offer on the menu, but if you change your mind and want the first choice, just let me know. He leans in, his breath on her neck. No matter what time or place, we can start anytime. Our girl is completely flustered, demanding to know if he ever thinks about anything else. He just smirks, explaining that demons are straightforward beings who value strength and pleasure. He explains that when demons like someone, they're not shy about it. They want to touch, hug, and kiss them. But our heroine hits him with the real question, what if the other person isn't willing? Then he says with a dangerously charming smile, I have to do everything possible to change her mind. She sighs, asking if he's ever actually been rejected before. His confession sends a shiver down her spine. He's never liked anyone before her, and she's the only one who makes his heart race. The air crackles with a tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. But she's still not convinced, arguing it's just because of the night god's fragment inside her. Tados drops a truth bomb. He asks if she really thinks that powerful fragment ended up in her body by pure chance. He reveals it wasn't the fragment that chose her, she's the only one who was a perfect match for it. She doesn't understand what he means. He whispers that one day she will, that they are meant to be together. He asks if she felt any joy when they were close, and she can't even form a coherent answer. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream shatters the night. Tatos' face darkens. The romantic atmosphere is officially ruined. They both turn towards the source of the horrifying sound. Without a word, he swoops her up into his arms. They land silently near the source of the noise. His eyes glint in the moonlight. Let's go take a look. He takes her hand, his grip firm and reassuring as they walk toward the danger. She can't help but notice how perfectly their hands fit together. Our poor girl is a blushing mess. Another scream, even louder and more desperate this time, echoes through the courtyard. They freeze. Tatos pulls her behind him, shielding her. A predator's grin spreads across his face. Found it. The screams are coming from behind a heavy, foreboding door. Inside, a horrific scene unfolds. A young boy is tied to a chair, bruised and bleeding, while a man screams at him to cry. Cry now, the man demands. The voice is chillingly familiar. It's Dr. Warden whipping the poor boy and ranting about how saints need to be grateful. Nebby gasps in shock, it's really him. The doctor sneers at the boy, calling him trash. But then he gets a twisted idea to use the boy as a test subject. He grabs the saint's face, his eyes gleaming with mad science. Maybe I'll find a way to extract materials directly from a saint's body. With that, he decides the torture session is over for the day and turns to leave. Nebby frantically whispers to Tados that they need to hide. They duck back into the room they came from just as the door begins to creak open. There's nowhere to hide. So Tados does the most chaotic, unexpected thing possible. He pulls her into a deep kiss. Our girl's mind short-circuits. This man is absolutely insane. A strange purple energy suddenly envelops them. Dr. Warden walks right past, his eyes looking through them as if they were invisible. It's a cloaking spell. The doctor pauses, sensing something is off. Tatos whispers against her lips that it's a soul kiss. Completely unaware, Dr. Warden mutters to himself about using electric shocks next time. This man is a monster. He yawns, deciding he's tired, and heads off to bed. He stretches and finally disappears down the hall. The spell dissolves and Nebby almost collapses, but Tatos steadies her. He's gone, he assures her. She's trembling, asking if he heard what Warden said about the whips and electric shocks. Tatos kneels before her, his expression grim as he takes her hand. They enter the room, and our girl's heart breaks at the sight of the battered boy. Tatos' voice is cold steel. So the wounds were real, this is how the Holy Order protects its saintess. The boy's voice is a raw whisper as he begs for water. Nebby immediately rushes to help him. She frantically looks around the bare, dark room. There's nothing here, not even a cup. She turns back, only to see Tatos holding out a glass of water he seemingly summoned from thin air. As the Demon King, this is easy for me, he says with an effortless shrug. She carefully helps the boy drink, telling him to be careful. She promises they'll get him out of here, but the traumatized boy screams at them to get lost and leave him alone. Our heroine kneels beside him, her voice soft and determined. I will never leave here. Tatos is absolutely livid, his hand clamped around the boy's throat. How dare you talk to her like that? He snarls, his eyes glowing with pure rage. Our girl quickly intervenes, grabbing his arm. Tatos, let go of him, she pleads, seeing the poor kid is already bleeding. The moment she touches him, the murderous aura just vanishes. All he can focus on is her hand on his voice suddenly soft. Nebby, you held my hand. She immediately denies it, yanking her hand back. but he's like a smitten puppy insisting you did, while our girl just looks bewildered by this chaotic man. Ignoring the lovesick demon, she turns to the captive. Sorry, we mean no harm, we just want to help you. She tries to reason with the terrified boy, who looks up at her shocked by her kindness. But he shakes his head, fear in his eyes. I can't go with you, he whispers, because he took my parents. He explains that half a year ago, the Holy Order arrived, declaring him the new saintess. His parents were overjoyed, thinking they'd all be safe now. But it was a trap. The nightmare began when he couldn't produce the holy tears they demanded. A sadistic doctor named Warden took over his treatment, using threats, hypnosis, and constant beatings. The doctor's twisted experiments were all designed to make him cry, but no matter what they did, he couldn't shed a single tear. Nebby is horrified by his story. She promises to take him out of this hellhole and expose everything to the high deacon. But the boy asks the one question that matters: what about my parents? Our girl assures him that once they expose Warden, they can save his parents too. But the kid isn't buying it, he's lost all hope. Actually, I don't trust any of you from the Holy Order, he says, his voice flat. He declares that even if he meets the deacon, he'll just say he hurt himself to protect his parents from Warden's wrath. Tatos just scoffs, ready to leave the kid to his fate. But our girl has a better idea. So if I can rescue your parents first, she proposes, you'll go with me, right? The boy is stunned into silence. And even Tados looks at her with newfound respect. The kid explains it's impossible. His parents are locked up outside and no one can leave without the high deacon's permission. Nebby's eyes narrow with determination. She knows she needs help from someone who can move freely. And there's only one person in the entire Holy Order who can come and go as he pleases. The Demon King himself, Tatos. Later, Tatos casually mentions he left a bit of magic on the boy to protect him from any more torture. Our girl thanks him, her heart softening. She hesitates, wondering if it's too much to ask a Demon King to save humans. But he already knows what she's going to ask. I'll go with you to save them, he says without hesitation. He leans in close, his voice a low whisper. Nebby, as long as it's something you want to do, I'm happy to join. But of course, there's a catch. However, I have one condition, he adds with a meaningful smirk. We flash back to a week ago, where Nebby was telling Tylo that he no longer needed to sleep in her room. She explains that the competition is over, so they don't need the constant physical contact to share power anymore. Tylo argues that it's a knight's duty to fulfill all of the saintesses' needs, including bathing her. Sir, that is not in the job description. But our girl is firm. You're my knight, not my possession, she tells him gently, urging him to think for himself. He mumbles something she can't quite hear, then quickly changes the subject, telling her to drink her milk and get some rest. But she hands the glass to him instead, saying she's already had some. He takes a sip and his eyes widen slightly. This milk tastes a bit off, he notes. Did you add something to it? Our girl's heart hammers in her chest, but Tylo just gives her a soft smile. Nothing, Nebby, thanks for the milk. He looks her right in the eyes and drinks the entire glass, knowing full well it's been drugged. A short while later, he's fast asleep. As she tucks him in, a knock sounds at the door. He strides in, asking if she gave Tylo the sleeping potion. Nebby worries it might harm him, but Tatos assures her it's harmless. Tylo will just sleep deeply until they return with no memory of them being gone. Our girl marvels at his power. He smirks, pulling her into his arms. Of course, he purrs, I'm a demon king. With a flash of magic, he teleports them out of the Holy Order. They reappear in a lively town square at night. Tatos leans in and whispers, Nebby, from now on, we're just an ordinary newlywed couple. He takes her hand, and our girl's face turns beet red as they begin their secret mission. Our girl confronts Tatos, demanding to know what in the world he's up to. He explains their undercover identity is for the best, but casually threatens a more direct method while conjuring some chaotic-looking magic. Oh no is right, our girl knows he's about to do something absolutely insane. But they're interrupted by a local villager who wants to know what these outsiders are doing in her town. Tatos, smooth as ever, immediately cooks up a lie about being a traveling couple from far away. Our girl quickly backs him up, saying they're looking for a doctor to help them. And just look at that smug smirk, he is loving this little charade. The old woman asks what's wrong, and for a second our heroine is completely stumped. But Tatos jumps in with the most unhinged excuse imaginable. They want a baby, but he can't make it happen. He pulls her into a dramatic back hug for effect, and she is absolutely mortified by the nonsense he's spouting. He tells her it's the perfect cover story, but the old woman isn't buying it, demanding to know how they heard about a doctor here. Yeah, her face says it all, she's not convinced for a second. They try to lie their way out of it, but she shuts them down hard, insisting there's no doctor and they should leave. The hostility is practically rolling off her in waves. Our girl immediately senses the lie, and Tatos confirms it, revealing that the evil warden locked his parents in this very town and is posing as a miracle doctor. He's been planning this rescue for a long time. And since Warden is so famous here, this old woman is definitely lying through her teeth. Nebby can't figure out why she'd be so guarded. Suddenly, a wave of dizziness hits her, and she knows they have to stay and figure this out. Tatos immediately catches her, his eyes blazing with concern. He goes into full-blown panic mode, begging her not to scare him because he can't lose her. She thinks he's being a little dramatic, but his panic is very real. Ever the opportunist, Tatos uses her illness as an excuse, asking the woman to take his poor, weary wife to an inn. And it works. The woman agrees and leads them away. But the place she takes them to is a certified nightmare, complete with cobwebs and are those bloodstains. The woman gives a creepy excuse about the inn being shabby, then adds that tonight's just beginning. You have to cherish it, she says with a dead-eyed stare that sends shivers down my spine. Our girl feels it too, something is very, very wrong with this town. The door slams shut, trapping them inside. They're finally alone in the dusty, creepy room. But not for long, Tados suddenly pulls her into his arms from behind. Don't give it away, he whispers, she's watching. And he's right, the old crone pulls her hand back from a hidden peephole in the wall. She's literally spying on them from behind a vase. Tados explains they have to keep up the act, and since they are a couple who wants a baby, they have to keep trying. This man has absolutely no shame. He argues that if they don't sell it, she'll know their marriage is a fake. Our girl can't believe he's trapped her like this again. She is so done with this entire situation. She tries to push him away, but he holds her tight. Their little struggle makes the old woman think they're having a lover's quarrel. An idea sparks in Nebby's mind. It's time to put on a show. She starts shouting that it's all his fault she's not pregnant and that his moves don't satisfy her. The absolute savagery. She is giving an Oscar-worthy performance right now. Tatos, playing along with a devilish grin, promises to do his best to satisfy her. Cornered, she blurts out the first thing she can think of, take off your clothes. She's dying of embarrassment, but Tatos is more than willing to oblige. And just like that, the shirt starts coming off. It hits the floor and my jaw just went with it. He stands there in all his glory, asking if she's satisfied now. Yeah, I think she is, we all are. Completely flustered, she tells him to just go sit on the bed and stop looking at her like that. He happily complies, pulling her down with him and asking what she wants next. Pinned beneath him, she calls him the worst person she's ever met. He just smirks, completely unfazed by her insults. She lists all his horrible qualities while he just nuzzles her hand. The audacity. But then she admits that he's got a great body, girl we know. Her hand accidentally brushes against his chiseled chest. He purrs that he's lucky his looks can still attract her. The old woman is getting impatient with their slow burn drama, and Tatos notices her peeking again. He whispers that it's time for the next step. He pulls her into a hug. She stammers, then you hug. But he goes right in for the kiss, and she knows she can't stop him while they're being watched. The kiss is electric, and for a moment they both forget they're supposed to be acting. He pulls away just enough to whisper that hugging won't get them a baby before laying her down on the bed. His hand tightens on her wrist as he whispers her name. You're so beautiful, he murmurs, his voice a low growl. His touch sends shivers down her spine. And before she can protest, he's hovering over her. He leans in close, his breath hot on her ear. Your waist is really sensitive, Nebby. And with a devilish smirk he adds, and I'm the only one who knows this secret. Our girl tries to push him away, weakly telling him not to go too far, but he just scoffs, asking how this is too far when he's just doing his duty as a husband. Her body betrays her, craving his touch. It's a desire so deep even her soul seems to be crying out for him, and she can't tell if these feelings are her own or just a side effect of the night god's fragment inside her. She lets out a soft gasp as his lips find hers. But just as things are heating up, he pulls back slightly and tells her she can be much louder. Because you see, someone is watching them. Our girl calls him a jerk and he just smiles, promising to be her jerk. And so the show begins. Outside, a spy is peering through the window, completely convinced they are an intimate, loving couple. Her accomplice asks if there are any problems, and she reports back that the two are practically glued together. The man decides they'll keep watching for a few more days, completely fooled by the act. Back inside, our girl asks if the peeping Tom has finally left. Tatos, still looming over her with a predatory gaze, shakes his head. With a wicked grin, he leans in and says, let's keep going. And who is she to argue with that face? The night passes, under the influence of a mysterious magic circle, and soon the bright morning light streams into the mansion. Our girl wakes up nestled in Tatos' arms, completely baffled as to how she fell asleep like this. He tells her to go back to sleep, claiming it's only 1 a.m. She stares at him, completely confused. 1 a.m., but it's as bright as noon outside. He calmly explains that they are in the land of light, a place from an old legend. Ages ago, the night god and the light god fought, splitting the world in two, a land of endless day and a land of eternal night. Later, they explore the local market, where Tatos marvels at some fresh chilies. A nervous-looking girl tells them she grew them herself and that they can be eaten raw. Nebby warns Tatos that chilies are incredibly spicy and he probably can't handle it. Oh, but you don't challenge a man's pride like that. He scoffs, declaring there's nothing in this world he can't handle. And to prove it, he shoves the entire chili into his mouth. For a glorious second, he looks triumphant and then the spice kicks in. The great Tatos is reduced to a coughing, spluttering mess. As our girl laughs at his misery, he gets a chaotic glint in his eye. We're a couple, he says, we should share the good things. Before she can react, he pulls her into a kiss, sharing the spicy punishment. She pushes him away, coughing, while the chili vendor just smiles, thinking what a loving couple they are. Tatos, ever the actor, pulls Nebby close and thanks the girl for the delicious chilies. He then asks if they can visit her home to learn her planting techniques, but the girl gets flustered and says it's not convenient. Suddenly, a little boy bumps right into Tatos's leg and falls to the ground. The vendor rushes to her son, Luke. Tatos quickly tells Nebby it wasn't him, and she agrees, sensing something is off with the child. And that's when they see it. Faint traces of dark magic eroding the boy's body, the exact same kind they found in the Holy Order's basement. He leans in close, his voice a low whisper. Nebby, what do you want me to do? Our girl trembles just a little from the proximity, but she steels her nerves. Tatos, please help her. Without a second's hesitation, he agrees, his hand coming up to gently caress her cheek. And just like that, our girl swoons. But their moment is cut short by the mother's panicked cries for her son, Luke. They immediately rush over to the commotion. Tatos steps forward, his voice calm and commanding. Let me help this boy, I can make him completely recover. A villager dismisses it as a simple fever, but Tatos isn't listening. He swoops in and scoops the sick child into his arms, leaving the kneeling mother and the crowd stunned. Nebby quickly reassures the frantic woman, please trust us. The mother, though terrified, has no other choice but to follow them, and reluctantly agrees. They get the boy Luke settled into a bed, but he's still unconscious. The mother anxiously asks if they can truly save him. Tatos immediately diagnoses the boy's chronic condition of frequent fevers and slow healing, leaving the mother speechless. Our girl quickly jumps in with a cover story, explaining that she and her husband have traveled a lot and learned about strange illnesses. And look at Tatos, absolutely beaming inside because she called him her husband. This big bad demon is just a softie for his girl. He sighs dramatically, claiming the boy's condition is more serious than he thought. The mother is instantly confused, remembering he said this would be easy. Nebby's eyes narrow. Oh, she knows exactly what he's doing. This little drama king is making it look difficult on purpose. Thinking fast, she smiles sweetly at the worried mother. Don't worry, my husband is probably just tired. She turns to Tatos, who is giving her a look. The mother watches, completely baffled, as Nebby suddenly grabs Tatos and pulls him into a kiss. And not just a peck, a full-on soul-stealing smooch to recharge his energy. She pulls back, a smirk playing on her lips. Do you have energy now? He looks absolutely satisfied, of course. He then turns to the mother, all confidence and swagger. Don't worry, madam, it should be fine now. Tatos can't help his internal villainous monologue, gloating that she's becoming less and less resistant to him. Later, after the healing is done, the little boy Luke wakes up. He stares at Tatos with wide eyes and asks, are you a god? Tatos smirks, deciding to have a little fun with the kid. I might as well scare this little guy, he thinks, before transforming into his most terrifying demon form, complete with red eyes and sharp claws. But the boy's reaction is not fear. Instead, he bursts out laughing. Tatos is utterly baffled. Luke claps his hands together, his eyes sparkling. You're not a demon, you're my hero. Tatos is speechless. You're not afraid of me? The kid just grins. Of course not, hero, don't go play with me. And then he launches himself at the demon lord for a hug, much to Tatos's chaotic dismay. Just then, the nosy housekeeper, Ms. Roy, shows up wanting to see Luke. Tatos, ever the petty king, whispers to Luke, a bad person is coming, do you know what to do? The boy nods, ready for mischief. Outside, Nebby is trying to block Ms. Roy, saying Luke is sleeping and her husband is with him. But the old woman is suspicious and insists on seeing for herself, making our girl and Luke's mother super nervous. Just as she nears the door, Luke unleashes an Oscar-worthy performance, crying out, brother, I feel terrible, I'm so uncomfortable. Nebby is shocked by the sudden outburst. Tatos calmly tells the women outside that the boy is just in pain from the treatment and will be fine. The plan works. Ms. Roy backs off from seeing Luke, but she's not done. She asks Nebby and Tatos to come with her for a chat. Tatos protectively takes our girl's hand and smoothly agrees, saying they wanted to talk to her too. As they're led away, Luke's mother watches with a worried expression. Outside, they see some children play fighting, pretending to slay a demon. Ms. Roy watches them with a grim look on her face. Nebby finds this odd and whispers to Tatos, aren't ordinary humans afraid of demons? He confirms they are. Ordinary humans are terrified of us, he says. Their first reaction is to run away. This raises a chilling question in Nebby's mind. If that's true, then why do the kids in this village treat fighting demons like it's just a game? The old lady suddenly brings our couple to a restaurant, and our girl's spidey senses are already tingling. She puts on a sweet face, apologizing for not greeting them properly yesterday, before immediately grilling them about where they are from. Thankfully, our girl had already prepped Tatos on their cover story. He smoothly wraps his arm around her and claims they're from the south. He lays it on thick, saying they were on the dangerous border looking for herbs to cure his sick wife. He gazes into her eyes, declaring he'd do anything for her, even give his life. When the old lady asks if he's serious, he answers with a firm yes, not missing a beat in his performance. The old woman seems touched by their love and calls for tea for her special guests. A servant brings over the drinks, and our girl immediately gets a bad feeling. She remembers the warning not to drink anything these people offer, and her heart pounds as the woman pushes the special tea on them. Playing along, she fakes a smile and thanks her. She reaches for the cup, thinking she'll be fine with Tatos here, but he suddenly stops her. He takes the cup himself, and when she asks what's wrong, he just says no. Then he turns to her with a smirk and says the most chaotic line ever, "I just want to feed it to you." And then he straight up kisses her, passing the tea from his mouth to hers in a single scandalous move. The old lady is completely floored by this public display of affection. Our girl is freaking out through their mind link, but Tatos calmly explains he filtered the poison out of the tea for her. So there was a drug in it. But before she can process it, a wave of dizziness hits her, and she collapses right into his arms. Tatos holds her tight, but then he slumps over too, making sure to cushion her fall as they both hit the floor with a bang. The old lady scoffs at the sight, mockingly impressed that he protected his wife even while fainting. When our girl wakes up, she feels dizzy and finds herself in a strange wooden hut. She calls out for Tatos, wondering where she is, only to realize she's been tied to a post. She's all alone. She desperately calls out for Tatos, and suddenly she hears his voice in her mind. She immediately asks if he's hurt. From a dark dungeon, he's just flattered she's worried about him first, but she tells him to get serious. He confirms he's locked up, but with some massive news, he found Noah's parents. Our girl is thrilled to hear it. Tatos is about to bust out and save her when the door to her hut creaks open, and she screams at him to stay put. The old lady and her cronies walk in, revealing our poor heroine is tied to a crucifix-like structure. Our girl quickly tells Tatos this is their chance to get information about the town's secrets. As the villagers approach, she promises to call his name if things get dangerous, begging him to trust her and let her try. He reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Noah's dad starts blaming Tatos for getting them all captured. Tatos' eyes narrow, and his entire demeanor shifts as he tells the man to back off before he loses control. Back in the hut, the old woman smirks, surprised our girl is awake so soon. She mockingly asks if any price is worth getting cured, and our girl demands to know if this is the doctor's idea of treatment. The woman confirms it. To get the cure, she has to be the doctor's little lab rat. With a wave of her hand, a painful magic circle erupts from beneath our heroine's feet. As the blinding light intensifies, our girl screams, calling the doctor a madman and a pervert. The old woman slaps her, screaming that the doctor is their town's savior. Our girl argues back that they've been deceived, earning another vicious slap across the face. The villagers rave about how the doctor is a saint who gave them the power to fight demons by giving them the saintesses' tears. Our girl is stunned. The saintesses' tears are the most sacred item of the Holy Order. Her mind races, wondering how on earth the warden could have smuggled something so precious out. Turns out the tears of a saintess are a demon's worst nightmare, able to harm them directly. They can even be refined into powerful holy weapons. The entire Holy Order is protected by massive barriers powered by this energy, and if any of the tears are taken outside, an alarm will sound immediately. This makes our girl realize that sneaking out with the goods is basically impossible. It also explains why the kids in this town treat fighting demons like a casual Tuesday afternoon game. These people believe they have the ultimate power to resist, so they have absolutely no fear. But our girl isn't buying their righteous act, and she calls them out on sacrificing the poor vendor's son for their twisted experiments. The old woman just scoffs, saying the boy was in so much pain he would have never recovered anyway, making him the most suitable candidate. She actually has the audacity to claim it was all for the safety of the town. Our girl, absolutely livid, fires back. Did you even ask him if he wanted to be sacrificed for your safety? She tells them their actions make them no better than the demons they claim to hate, and for her trouble, she gets a sharp lash from a whip. The leader, a total psychopath, just orders his goon to keep whipping her. And the whipping continues, brutal and unrelenting. Finally, the man says that's enough and tells them to bring in her husband. The old crone shuffles over to deal with our poor heroine. Meanwhile, Tados is being led into the barn, casually asking if they're taking him there to feed him or something. But his sarcastic demeanor vanishes the second he sees Nebby tied to a cross. He's been led right into a trap, a magic formation glowing at his feet. These villagers gloat that the formation was set up by the doctor himself, and ordinary people can't escape it. Tatos just looks at them completely unimpressed and says, "So what?" The goon explains that the doctor is researching a way to transfer pain, and if he truly loves his wife, all of her wounds will be transferred directly to him. And just like that, the welts and cuts on our girl's body begin to fade away. They reappear instantly on Tatos' skin. The villagers are ecstatic, cheering that the experiment actually worked. Nebby can only watch in horror, whispering her husband's name as he takes on her pain. But suddenly, the transfer stops. The whip wielder is confused, wondering why it failed. The old woman explains it's just a prototype, and they'll have to take both of them back for more research. Tatos just smirks, a dangerous glint in his eye. "What a pity," he says. "If you could actually transfer all her wounds, you could have spared me some suffering." And with a sudden snap, the ropes binding Nebby break into pieces. He catches her just as she falls, holding her protectively in his arms. The villagers are stunned, wondering how the rope could just snap on its own. Tatos leans in close and whispers to Nebby, "Now that you know everything you wanted to, can I finally make my move?" He holds our girl tight, his patience clearly at its end. She just can't bring herself to accept something so brutal despite what they've done. And because he's a big softie for her, Tatos promises he will spare their lives. The villager, still clueless, demands to know who they are. He's about to find out. A dark, chaotic energy explodes from Tatos, his eyes glowing a terrifying red as a whip of pure demonic power forms in his hand. The goon can only stare in shock. My whip." Tatos' voice is chillingly calm. "Did you use this to whip her?" And then the savage beatdown begins. With a crack, the demonic whip lashes across the man's body. "Is this how you did it?" Tatos asks, his voice dripping with ice. "Or perhaps was it more like this?" he says, delivering another brutal strike. The man screams, calling him crazy and a criminal. But Tatos is done playing games. "What, you finally feel the pain when you're the one being whipped, huh?" His expression is utterly merciless. "Then you shall feel it a bit longer," he declares, and the whipping gets even more vicious. The old woman tries to tell her accomplice to retreat, but it's far too late. In a flash, Tatos is right behind her. "Where are you going?" he asks. The woman is absolutely terrified, stammering and begging for forgiveness. But she's begging the wrong man. His hand shoots out, grabbing her by the throat. "You think begging will get you forgiveness?" he snarls, ridiculous. He lifts her off the ground with one hand, his rage completely consuming him. Our girl watches, stunned. She has never seen Tatos this angry before. His eyes are burning with pure, unadulterated fury. With a massive bang, he slams the old crone into the ground, leaving her in a crumpled heap. Suddenly, the sound of urgent footsteps echoes from outside. Tatos frowns, his rage momentarily distracted. Nebby asks what that sound is, and he tries to soothe her, saying it's nothing to worry about. He takes her hand, trying to be gentle and reassuring. But his eyes widen in alarm. Oh no! The barn door bursts open, and a frantic villager screams, "The demons are attacking." The villagers flock together, confused and scared. One of the younger men demands to know what's going on. Tatos flashes back to the poor souls tied up and left for dead, used as bait in some twisted experiment. He asks the crowd if this is what Ms. Roy brought him and our girl here for. The villagers start to panic, realizing they've been caught. Tatos' voice drops to a deadly whisper, "So you all knew." He connects the dots, realizing their suspicious stares in the market weren't just curiosity. "Are you glad there's finally a new sacrifice?" He sneers, his contempt dripping from every word. He looks at them with pure disgust. "You really make me sick." But the town's self-proclaimed leader isn't having it. He rallies the villagers, telling them to ignore Tatos and get ready for the coming demon attack. Our girl realizes this must be the warden, the one pulling the strings with the so-called tears, but something feels terribly wrong. Her intuition is screaming at her. She spots a massive chest filled with vials, way too few for the number of people here. The warden gets a grim look on his face. He makes a chaotic announcement. Only the young and strong get the tears, everyone else has to hide. An elderly woman begs him not to take their only protection, but the young man shoves her to the ground with a savage kick, snarling that old folks can't fight anyway and the tears belong to the city's future. The woman cries out in despair as others try to keep the peace. Our girl is absolutely horrified by their selfishness. Tatos, however, is completely unfazed. "When disaster strikes, who cares? It's completely normal," he says with a cold, cynical smirk. Suddenly, a small voice calls out, "Brother, sister, it's me." Tatos is shocked to see the little boy, Luke, and demands to know what he's doing here. The kid shoves a vial into his hand, explaining he secretly stole it and it's the only one he has. Tatos is taken aback. "You give it to me, what about you and your mom?" But the boy just looks at him with fierce determination. "We'll find a place to hide, I'm good at hiding," he says with a brave smile. "You two are my saviors, I'll protect you." Tatos is internally screaming, "This kid wants to protect me, asterisk." He's just completely bewildered by this child's pure heart. The touching moment is shattered as 3 demons burst through the door. Tusk, did you think hiding here would keep you safe? Tatos' eyes widen in surprise. It's asterisk these asterisk guys. He pulls her close. Of course not, these three are wanted criminals, he explains. The lead demon smirks, confirming they've been on the run from the council for ages, and that this town has no saintess or holy weapons to stop them. His buddies grin wickedly. It's time to have some fun. Our girl panics, but Tatos reassures her. Don't these humans have the tears? He says calmly. Even weak humans can defeat demons with them. He glances at the vial in his hand, noting how desperate everyone is to get one. Everyone, that is. Except for the strange, kind kid who gave his away. The demon leader kicks an unconscious man bored. He already passed out, so boring. That brave young villager steps forward, telling the demons to stay back. The demon leader just laughs. Is this human crazy? He said he won't let us go. I'm so scared. The man holds up his vial like a holy relic. Inside, here are the saintesses' tears. You're doomed. The demon actually looks surprised for a second. But then he scoffs. Do you really think this little bottle of tears can deal with me? The young man stands his ground, not alone. We have plenty of saintesses' tears. He shouts as the others raise their vials, a united front against the monsters. The demon's confidence wavers. Scared now, you damn demons? The man yells, now go to hell. He splashes the liquid right in the demon's face and nothing happens. Absolutely nothing. The man stares in disbelief as the demon's face twists with rage. How dare you humans trick me? He powers up, absolutely furious. Tados smirks. He explains that real holy items aren't so easy to come by. The warden managed to fool an entire town. With nothing more than plain water. I really underestimated him, he muses. The old woman is devastated. Impossible, that doctor is our benefactor. Her cries are cut short as the demon leader snaps the young man's neck with a brutal kick. The other demons descend on the crowd and chaos erupts. Our girl knows she has to do something. Her blood can hurt them. But Tatos grabs her arm, reminding her that these same people were ready to sacrifice her just moments ago. At that exact moment, the lead demon snatches little Luke from the crowd. Our heroine screams his name in terror. The demon leader holds little Luke hostage, sneering with pure malice. The boy's mother collapses in despair, reaching out helplessly. But this kid is brave, yelling for his family to run for their lives. Just as things look bleak, a flash of silver hair appears. It's Tatos, and he is not happy. With a flick of his wrist, a holy dagger flies through the air, aimed right at the demon. The demon barely has time to react, dropping the boy in shock. Luke hits the ground, safe for now, as the demon stares at the weapon that just appeared out of nowhere. He catches it, his eyes wide with disbelief. This is a holy weapon. And then our girl makes her grand entrance, revealing she's the one with the saintess's tears and tells these clowns to get lost. The demon just scoffs. A holy weapon is useless in the hands of a frail woman. As if to prove his point, his disgusting sidekick moves in. He brutally stomps on Luke's back, the poor kid crying out in pain. Our girl screams his name, her eyes filled with rage and fear. The creep then makes her an offer that makes everyone's skin crawl. Serve them and maybe they'll let the kid live. But before he can even finish his sentence, a savage slap echoes through the room. Tatos sends the pervert flying, knocking him clean out. He stands over the body, his voice dangerously low. How dare you try to mess with her? You must have a death wish. His eyes are glowing with pure, unfiltered rage. While the mom rushes to comfort her son, the demon leader is stunned. Tatos has a holy weapon too. He tries to regain control, pointing out that they're all wanted demons. Tatos is completely unbothered, but the demon's arrogance is off the charts. He calls Tatos a pretty boy and claims he doesn't care about the demon elders. And then he says the most monumentally stupid thing ever. Even the demon king himself wouldn't dare mess with us. Oh, you sweet, doomed summer child. Our girl can't believe what she's hearing. This guy has no idea who he's talking to. Tatos is visibly peeved. A slow, terrifying smile spreads across his face. Oh, really? His eyes flash a menacing purple, then let's give it a try. Suddenly, the demon leader freezes, sheer terror on his face. He can't move a muscle. Two massive blades of crimson energy materialize above him. This is about to get messy. From the shadows, the true demon king's voice booms. Who did you just say doesn't dare mess with you? The demon starts sweating bullets, finally realizing he's messed with the final boss. An explosion of dark energy slams into him. It's a total beatdown. He crashes to the floor, utterly defeated. His minions are just as shocked as he is. The villagers are stunned, wondering what just happened. They can't believe their eyes. Our girl is in awe. The true power of the Demon King, he can wipe out enemies from a distance without even lifting a finger. Tatos, of course, plays it cool, but little Luke is having none of it. He runs and latches onto his new hero, calling him brother. Tatos is immediately annoyed, but the kid refuses to let go. Luke knows exactly who saved them. He declares Tatos the most powerful hero ever, and honestly, he's not wrong. Tatos tries to deny it, but the kid is persistent. He even threatens to hit the boy, but Luke's grip only tightens. This is chaotic and I am living for it. He just continues his hug, completely unfazed. Our girl can't help but giggle at the sight of the mighty Demon King being bested by a child's hug. The villagers whisper about how surprisingly friendly Tatos is. He's clearly flustered by the attention. Finally giving in, Tatos grumbles for the kid to hug as long as he wants, the ultimate tsundere move. But the villagers' relief turns to anger as they remember the doctor who promised to protect them. Our girl drops a bombshell. The doctor was never protecting them. He was using them as test subjects. As the truth sinks in, an old woman starts coughing violently. It's not just a cough, she's spitting up blood. Soon the entire crowd is hacking and wheezing. Nebby explains the horrible truth. The so-called protective formation was actually draining their life force. She trembles, horrified by the price these poor people have paid. Tados notices her distress immediately. Nebby. She suddenly sways, collapsing against him and whispering that she's so cold. He understands instantly. The formation is causing the night god's fragment inside her to react, putting her in danger. Don't be afraid, he says softly, his voice full of concern. And then he gently sweeps her up into his arms, holding her close as he prepares to get her to safety. Our poor girl wakes up shivering in her hotel room, complaining about how cold it is. She's wrapped up tightly in the blankets, but the chill just won't go away. Tados, ever the observant one, points out that the room is actually quite warm, so why is she still freezing? He reaches out and touches her face, confirming that her skin is as cold as ice. She immediately melts into his touch, sighing that his hand is so warm and comfortable. And just like that, a light bulb goes off in Tados' head. He leans in close, a knowing look on his face. He realizes that the modified formations from earlier must have stimulated the night god fragment inside her body. So, he says, you don't feel cold because of the temperature. Before she can even process that, he yanks the blanket off her. She panics, but Tados hits her with the smoothest line in history. Didn't you say I'm warm, so you don't need a blanket, you need me? And with a devilish smirk, he leans over her and promises to make her warm. He gently holds her face, getting closer and closer. As their lips meet, our girl can only think about how warm and comfortable he feels. The kiss deepens and he pulls her into a tight embrace, holding her as if she's the most precious thing in the world. When they finally part for air, he looks at her with concern in his eyes. He asks if she's feeling better, and while she is, she admits she's still cold. Tados gets a serious look on his face. A simple kiss isn't going to cut it. He pulls her close again. He tells her this is not the time to refuse. With a smug grin, he whispers, "Besides, you're longing for me too, right? My man is laying it on thick." He tells her to just leave everything to him. And honestly, our girl can't even argue. Everything around her feels like a frozen wasteland. And Tados is her only source of warmth. In that moment, she realizes she wants him more than anything. He gently removes her robe, his red eyes burning with a mix of passion and concern, asking if her injuries hurt. She's confused for a second, but then he clarifies, asking why she acted on her own and didn't ask for his help. She tearfully asks if he's angry, and his expression softens into one of pure heartache. He admits he is angry, but more than that, he's heartbroken to see her hurt. He tells her it makes him feel awful. She whispers his name like a prayer, Tados, Tados, Tados. She reaches out, her hands exploring his bare back. He leans in, their faces inches apart. "Yeah, I'm here," he murmurs, "I'm yours." Later, as they lay tangled together, he assures her that she can sleep now, that her condition is stable. He holds her tight, making her promise to rely on him more in the future. And with one last possessive whisper, he tells her, "If you don't say no, I'll take it as a yes." Our girl doesn't even know when she drifted off. In her sleep, she hears Tados' voice whispering softly in her ear, a gentle and caring sound that drives away all her fears. She feels a sense of peace she hasn't felt in a long, long time. But when she opens her eyes, she realizes it's not a dream at all. He's right there holding her. "Convenient for what, you ask?" "Of course," he purrs, "it makes it convenient for you to touch." Our girl shoves him away, her face bright red, insisting she has no such hobby. Tados gets this dangerous glint in his eye. "Really, I don't either," he says. "Because whether you're dressed or not, you always make me lose control." And to prove his point, he grabs her hand and starts guiding it all over his chest, asking her to check for herself right here. And here, our girl is about to short-circuit. She yanks her hand back and tries to change the subject, insisting they need to hurry back. She practically scrambles off the bed to get away from him. But she can't help but think that his gentle and caring side must have been a dream after all. Tados smirks from the bed, his perfectly sculpted abs on full display. "You even have the strength to push me away and run," he says. "It seems you're fully recovered." He whisks her away to a bustling town square far from their troubles. She's confused, but he explains this is a human town hundreds of kilometers away. He wouldn't let her stay in that filthy place a moment longer. She reminds him they need to go back to expose Warden. But he just dismisses it. He wants to spend more time alone with her, away from all the annoying people. And our girl's heart does a little flutter. He came all this way just for her. Suddenly, an overly enthusiastic local approaches them, asking if they are here for the True Love Festival contest. Our girl has no idea what that is, but the woman is already dragging them into the festivities, promising fun games and prizes. The rules are simple. The couple who finishes eating an apple hanging from a string first wins. Our girl is mortified. This is basically a wedding game and a huge crowd is gathering to watch. She's sure the proud demon king Tados would never agree to such a ridiculous human custom. But then some guys in the crowd start trash-talking, saying Tatos looks too slim and isn't capable. Oh, they have no idea who they're talking to. Nebby tries to talk him out of it, saying they can still quit. But it's too late. Tatos' pride has been wounded. Are they saying I'm not capable? He fumes. I'll show these ignorant folks my skills. Yep, his desire to win is officially fired up. The host starts the countdown, and the crowd cheers. 3, 2, 1. The game starts. Tatos cups her face, leaning in close, and then in one massive, savage bite, he demolishes half the apple. The crowd absolutely swoons at the display. The apple core drops to the ground. They've won. But Tatos isn't stopping there. He pushes her back slightly, a smirk on his face. We're in the game, he whispers. Concentrate, and then he pulls her right back in, pressing his lips against hers. After a moment that leaves everyone speechless, he pulls back and looks directly at the dude who insulted him. Hey, he says with our girl still sitting on his lap. Do you still think I'm not capable? The entire crowd goes dead silent, blushing furiously. Nebby hides her face in his chest. Tatos, you're such a jerk, she mutters, and he just coolly replies, yeah, I am. For their prize, they're given a cheap-looking red string. Tatos looks at it with total scorn, clearly unimpressed. But Nebby explains that in legends, a red string symbolizes fate and connection. When two people wear it, it means they are destined to be together and will never lose each other. Before she can even finish, Tatos grabs the string and ties it around his own wrist. She asks him why he put it on and he just shrugs. It's our prize, so of course we should wear it for everyone to see. Then he takes her hand and ties the other end of the string to her wrist, nodding in approval. Yeah, it does look pretty nice. They stand there connected by the simple red thread. He looks down at her, his eyes serious for the first time. Nebby, he says, his voice low, now you can't leave me. Later, Tatos and our girl explore the lively streets, enjoying a rare moment of peace together. Everything is perfect as they wander through the festival, our girl even grabbing a tasty snack. Well, almost perfect. Tatos, being the massive show-off that he is, can't resist flaunting their red string of fate to a crowd of little children. After a long night, they finally take a break, but Tatos immediately starts bragging about how much better demon festivals are. Our girl's curiosity is piqued, asking if demons have their own version of Valentine's Day, and he smirks, saying it's way more interesting than any human tricks. Yep, that sounds exactly like something our demon king would be into. He leans in close, getting all smooth and asking if she wants to, experience it for herself. Our girl gets flustered and immediately shoots him down, but Tatos just pivots, saying it's time to go to the next place. She's confused, thinking their date was over, but he just holds out his hand, a mysterious glint in his eyes. Before she can protest, he sweeps her off her feet and into the night sky, telling her to hold on tight. She understandably freaks out, screaming for him to put her down, clinging to him for dear life. But her fear quickly turns to happiness as she melts into his embrace. They land gently on a rooftop, and he explains he brought her to the highest point in town for the best view. And what a view it is! A massive firework display suddenly lights up the sky. As she watches in awe, Tatos seizes the moment and pulls her in for a kiss. He pulls back just enough to explain the human legend that couples who kiss under the fireworks will be together forever, and then declares that first kiss was just a warm-up. This man is a menace. He tells her he's going to kiss her properly now, and pulls her into a breathtakingly deep kiss. Our girl can barely breathe, the intensity of it all overwhelming her senses. Lost in his arms under the starry sky, he whispers her name, breaking the spell. She's so dazed her legs have turned to jelly, admitting she's completely out of strength. Tatos just looks incredibly pleased with himself, even cheekily suggesting they sit down and continue since the fireworks aren't over yet. Our poor flustered heroine can only manage a weak no. As the last of the fireworks fade, she remarks that they are beautiful but fleeting. Tatos, however, says he doesn't believe in the human legend, but he wants her to have all the human blessings she can get. He looks at her with so much genuine affection, it's enough to make anyone swoon. He promises that even as a demon, he can make her happy in a human way. And that's when a memory flashes through her mind, the High Priestess's words about transferring wounds through love. Our girl freezes, a sudden horrifying thought striking her. She remembers her wounds and how they were transferred to Tatos. The realization hits her like a ton of bricks. But Tatos, oblivious, just teases her about her blushing face. Stealing another quick kiss, he whispers in her ear, asking if she's surprised he wants to kiss her all the time. She pushes him away, not out of rejection, but because she's worried they'll fall off the roof. He finds this hilarious, teasing that she's more worried about falling than about him kissing her, and bluntly asks if she enjoys it. She stammers a denial, claiming her reflexes were just slow. He plays along, a sly smirk on his face, saying he'll just have to try harder to win her over. And by try harder, he apparently means nibbling on her fingers. This man is relentless, his eyes burning with a possessive heat. She begs him to stop, but he just smirks, claiming she offered her hand so he thought she wanted it. Despite all the teasing, he gently admits he had a great night, and our girl shyly agrees. Holding his hand, she feels her heart pounding, a new emotion spreading through her. She tries to write it off as just the soul fragments acting up, but girl, you're not fooling anyone. They teleport back to the mansion courtyards, their romantic night officially over. But Tatos immediately senses something is wrong, commenting that the air smells bad. That snaps our girl out of her romantic daze, and she starts worrying about Noah since they've been gone for 3 days. Without a second thought, she grabs Tatos' hand and insists they go check on him immediately. Tatos is momentarily stunned by her initiative, but when she asks what's wrong, he quickly recovers, a small happy smile gracing his lips as he follows her lead. Our girl finds Noah, but he's been captured and tied to a chair. She asks what's wrong with him, but Tatos is completely unbothered, claiming he's probably just asleep. But this psycho pulls out an image sphere, forcing Noah to watch a vision of his parents. His mom and dad appear, looking perfectly fine and telling him they were saved by 2 kind people. Tatos watches with a smug look, clearly enjoying this emotional torture. Noah's eyes widen in disbelief as he whispers, "Mom, Dad." His parents tearfully apologize for not being able to protect him. And just like that, the strong young man who endured so much torture finally breaks down, sobbing his heart out. Tatos coldly notes that even the warden's torture couldn't make him cry. His parents are his one true weakness. Nebby quickly reassures Noah that his parents are safe and sound at a nearby inn. He looks up, his voice filled with gratitude as he thanks her. Fired up, Noah declares he's going to report the warden right now. But our girl is the voice of reason, telling him to wait until morning when they'll have more support. Her thoughts drift back home, wondering how her knight Tylo is doing after 3 long days away. She's racked with guilt, even though she knows saving Noah was the right thing to do. Tatos, ever the instigator, asks if she doesn't want to go back to her precious knight. He then has the absolute audacity to suggest she sleep in his room, claiming there's always a spot in his bed for her. When she refuses, he casually offers to make her knight disappear to solve all her problems. Nebby is horrified, fiercely declaring that Tylo is her most important partner and he better not lay a finger on him. Tatos just sneers at the word partner, his jealousy flaring up. He closes the distance between them in a single step. Backing her against the door, he pins her with his intense gaze. He leans in close, demanding to know what his place is in her heart. Panicking, our girl uses the oldest trick in the book, "I'm sleepy, good night." She shoves him away and slams the door right in his face. Left alone in the hall, Tatos just smirks, realizing she's slowly getting used to his presence. Inside her room, Nebby trembles, frustrated that Tatos never takes anything seriously. But when she turns around, her heart stops. Tylo is standing right there waiting for her. "You're back," he says softly. "I've been waiting for you." Our girl is completely stunned. She thought he was supposed to be asleep. Drowning in guilt, she decides she has to confess everything to him. But Tylo beats her to the punch, asking why she's back so soon when she said she was visiting MS. Natasha. Caught in her lie, she quickly sputters that Natasha was going to bed, so she came back. Desperate to escape, she uses the sleepy excuse again and rushes to bed. They both lie in their beds, but sleep is the last thing on their minds. Tylo's heart aches. For a moment, he thought she would never come back. We flash back to 3 days ago when Tatos took Nebby away. Tylo had stayed behind in her room, a silent guardian. He knew she went to see Tatos, and the sleeping draft she gave him hadn't worked at all. So for 3 agonizing days he waited, never once leaving his post. Then finally he heard her voice in the hall. As she slept, exhausted from her journey, he quietly sat by her bed. He was desperate to ask where she'd been and why she went with that man. But he held himself back, gently tucking her in, knowing he couldn't stop her. His heart breaks as he sees the fresh scratches on her arm, a painful reminder that he wasn't there to protect her. He's just her knight, after all. Suddenly, a knock echoes through the silent room. It's Tatos, thinking Nebby came crawling back to him. He swings the door open, shirtless and ready to gloat, only to find Tylo standing there, fury burning in his eyes. The 2 rivals face off. Tylo immediately demands to know why Nebby is hurt and what Tatos did to her. Tylo is having none of it and grabs him by the collar, his voice dangerously low. Tatos just smirks, completely unfazed by the threat. Tylo declares that Nebby is more important to him than his own life. He lands a savage blow. "If you can't protect her like I do, then stay away from her." Oh, that did it. Tatos' playful demeanor vanishes, replaced by pure rage. He can't stand how much Nebby cares about this night. The air crackles with murderous intent. For a split second, Tatos considers ending Tylo right here and now. But the thought of Nebby's heartbreak stops him. So instead, he goes for the kill verbally. That's right, he sneers, you're Nebby's knight and you'll always be just a knight. Then with a triumphant, wicked grin, he delivers the final, chaotic declaration, because I will be Nebby's husband. He can't wrap his head around what he's just heard. But Tatos, the silver-haired menace, doubles down, declaring that Nebby is the only bride he'll ever have. He challenges Tylo, bringing up some dusty old rule from the holy order that a saintess can't marry another saint. Then he just scoffs, calling the rules strange and saying they won't need them after they're married anyway. With a final smug smirk, he walks off, leaving Tylo completely frozen. His world just shattered into a million pieces. He tries to remind himself of his purpose. He is Nebby's knight, and as long as she's safe and happy, nothing else matters. But then why does his heart ache so much at the thought of her becoming someone else's bride? Seeking answers, Tylo finds the other knight, the one who fell for Saintess Natasha, looking utterly defeated. Tylo cuts right to the chase, revealing he knows about the knight's secret relationship. The knight panics, immediately offering to take all the blame. He's willing to say he seduced Natasha, accepting execution just to keep her safe. But Tylo isn't here to report him. Instead, our sweet, clueless boy asks a simple question: what is love? The knight is stunned, realizing Tylo might be an artificial human who doesn't understand emotions. Tylo just confirms he genuinely wants to know. So the knight explains, love is when your heart and eyes are full of her and you want to protect her for the rest of your life. Tylo thought that was just the duty of a knight. But the knight clarifies it's different, it's the feeling of a man for a woman. He says you can't help but want to be close to her and you feel happy just seeing her smile. Tylo's mind flashes back to a precious memory with Nebby. The knight continues, saying you want to hug her and kiss her and never stop. Another memory surfaces, the feeling of holding her close. You want to monopolize her for her to belong only to you, and you get jealous and mad when she's with other men. The pieces start clicking into place for Tylo. He trembles, wondering, is this love? And then the earth-shattering realization hits him like a lightning bolt. I love Nebby. The other knight sees it all over his face and asks him directly if he wants to be with her. Tylo is shocked, he could tell. The knight smiles sadly, because the way you look at her is the same as the way I look at Natasha. He then gives Tylo one last piece of advice, man to man. Love is something you have to fight for yourself. A new fire ignites in Tylo's eyes. The next day, our girl Nebby wakes up, determined to go find the high deacon. But before she can even get out of bed, Tylo appears with her breakfast. He walks in, a gentle smile on his face, wishing her a good morning. She thanks him, a bit surprised. As she's about to ask for his help with her plan, she notices something is different about him today. He's not just her stoic knight anymore, there's a warmth in his eyes she's never seen before. She explains her plan and Tylo immediately understands, telling her he knows what to do. Nebby apologizes for keeping him in the dark for so long, but Tylo just tells her it's okay. He gives her the most heart-melting smile, and then he gets down on one knee. He swears his undying loyalty, promising to believe in her and meet all her demands without question. He vows to protect her until the very end of his life. Then he gently takes her hand and presses a kiss to it, sealing his promise. Our girl is completely moved, telling him he's the person she trusts the most in the world. They head out together, a united front. But of course, the snake Tados is waiting for them, leaning against the wall with a greasy smile. He teases her about missing him, but Nebby savagely replies, get used to it. He just smirks unbothered. He tries to sidle up to her, but Tylo blocks his path, stating coldly that Nebby has him by her side. The tension is electric as the two men face off. Tylo refuses to move an inch, telling Tados it will never happen. Nebby is completely oblivious, wondering why the mood is so tense. Suddenly, the ribbon on her shoe snaps, and she loses her balance. She tumbles to the floor with a cry. Both men immediately rush to her side. Their rivalry momentarily forgotten. Tados offers his hand first, asking to help her up. Nebby looks from his hand to his face, but then her eyes find Tylo's. She reaches past Tados and takes Tylo's hand instead, letting him pull her to her feet. She stands beside Tylo, ready to leave. Tados is left seething, his face a mask of pure annoyance as he thinks about just killing this bothersome knight. Our girl, still a little clueless, asks if he's coming. He forces a smile and says of course he is. But then the pouting begins. He whines, asking why she didn't take his hand. Nebby asks if it really matters, and he clutches his chest dramatically, claiming his heart is broken. She just sighs and tells him he's overreacting. But Tylo notices her tone, it's colder, more distant than before. Tados decides to check for himself, and pulls her into a sudden back hug, shocking her. Down in a dark basement corridor, our psycho doctor Warden is getting his favorite toy ready. He's about to use a curse blade with a deadly toxin on his latest victim. This thing causes the pain of burning fire and being eaten alive by insects. He gleefully plans to use it on poor Noah just to see him cry. And here's our poor victim tied to a chair and already in tears. Warden is just itching to test the limits of human pain. He sneers, "Noah, are you ready to play today's game with me?" But wait, the room is empty. Where is he? Warden screeches, realizing his plaything is gone. He searches the empty torture chamber. He fumes, did he escape? I still have his parents, how dare he? Just then he's summoned. Dr. Warden, the High Deacon, wants to see you immediately. The messenger is tight-lipped, just telling him he'll find out when he gets there. Warden tries to play it cool, but you can see the panic in his eyes. He clenches his fist, telling himself not to freak out. He enters the High Deacon's office, feigning innocence. But his jaw hits the floor when he sees who's there. The High Deacon, our girl Nebby, Tatos, and Noah. Noah, he gasps. Noah points a trembling finger at him. It's him, he's the one who's been torturing me. He spills everything about the horrible experiments. Tados adds that Noah would have suffered even more if they hadn't found him, while Warden seethes in the background. The doctor immediately realizes this is a coordinated attack. The High Deacon demands an explanation, but Warden just laughs it off. High Deacon, this is a complete misunderstanding. Our girl can't believe his audacity. Is he seriously laughing right now? He spins a wild tale, claiming Noah has a delusional disorder and that his wounds are self-inflicted. This sends Noah into a rage, who lunges at him screaming, "You bastard, you're lying." He's held back by the guards. Warden uses this outburst as proof. See, High Deacon, he can't control his emotions at all. Noah desperately pleads with the High Deacon to check the basement, which is filled with torture devices, but Warden just smirks, completely unbothered. A guard is sent to investigate and reports back. High Deacon, there is a hidden basement. The High Deacon listens intently, but the room is just a clean, normal sanatorium. Noah is absolutely stunned. Our heroes, however, aren't surprised at all. They knew this psycho was cautious. He clearly cleaned up the evidence before he was summoned. But little does he know they expected this. See, our girl had a bigger plan. She wanted to punish Warden, but she also wanted to test someone else. She's always been suspicious of how a mere doctor could build a secret torture basement right under the High Deacon's nose. Was the old man truly unaware? He declares it all a misunderstanding since there's no evidence. Noah can't believe his ears. Our girl frowns. The High Deacon is trying to sweep this under the rug. It's time for step 2. She gives Tatos' hand a firm squeeze. For a second, he just freezes up, completely flustered. His inner monologue is screaming, "She's holding my hand." Our girl is speechless, bro focus. She gives his hand another squeeze to snap him out of it. Tatos finally clears his throat and gets back to the script. It seems Dr. Warden's crimes don't end here. He brings up a place called Luda Town, and suddenly Warden doesn't look so calm anymore. Tatos heard about an eccentric doctor there who experimented on people. A doctor who knew how to draw the Holy Order's formations, and even extract a saintess's tears. Noah shouts, "That doctor is Warden, he locked my parents up to threaten me." Warden tries to deny ever hearing of Luda Town, but Tatos just laughs in his face. The doctor starts sweating. Why is he laughing? Because right on cue, a guard bursts in. Dozens of villagers from Luda Town are here, and they're all accusing Dr. Warden of abuse and harm. The High Deacon turns to Warden, his patience clearly wearing thin. "Explain yourself." Warden collapses to the floor, crying crocodile tears and claiming he's been framed. But Tatos goes for the kill shot. We'll see about that when you meet the villagers. They wouldn't come all this way without evidence. Our girl knows she has him cornered. With witnesses and evidence, there's no way he can deny it now. She puts the High Deacon on the spot. "So how will you deal with him?" But he still tries to stall. He orders Warden to be taken away for a slow and careful investigation. Our girl sees right through it. He's stalling to protect Warden. Warden's smug little smile says it all. Noah explodes. What's there to investigate? Just send him to hell. The High Deacon tries to silence them, ordering them to keep this quiet to avoid panic. But our heroes know he's just trying to bury the whole affair. All of our girl's worst fears are coming true. The High Deacon is corrupt, but the cavalry has arrived. A whole new group storms in, demanding to know how the High Deacon can guarantee anyone's safety with a monster like Warden running around. And who's that with them? It's Tylo, and he gives our girl a reassuring smile. She thinks to herself, "Well done, Tylo. The final piece of their plan is in place." Tatos gently covers her eyes, telling her not to look. The poor doctor looks absolutely terrified as the gravity of his situation sinks in. But Tatos, ever the agent of chaos, just smirks, enjoying the show. With every single saintess demanding justice, even the High Deacon can't protect his pet doctor anymore. He looks on grimly, forced to act. Suddenly, Warden is trapped in a glowing magic circle, screaming in agony. Our girl realizes this formation isn't just for artificial beings, it works on humans too. The High Deacon announces that Warden is stripped of his title and will be handed over to the Royal Inquisition for investigation. Tatos leans in close to Nebby, a smug grin on his face, asking if she has a problem with this outcome. And everyone knows the Royal Inquisition is a one-way ticket to a lifetime of torture. As Warden is dragged away begging for his life, our girl looks on with cold eyes, telling him it's the punishment he deserves. The other saintesses praise the High Deacon's fairness, and he assures them this kind of incident will never happen again before dismissing them. He then turns to Nebby, praising her as the chief saintess, and saying he feels much more at ease with her around. His satisfied smile is more than a little unsettling. Later that night, our girl takes a shower, but her mind is racing. She can't shake the feeling that the High Deacon is not as impartial and selfless as he pretends to be. What other dark secrets could he be hiding? Stepping out of the shower, she wonders if the man she's supposed to trust is actually the biggest threat of all. Gently draping his coat over her shoulders, he's blushing like crazy, barely able to meet her eyes. She asks him what's wrong, and he sweetly explains that he was just worried she'd catch a cold. He then offers to dry her hair. As he does, she asks him about the High Deacon's position in the Holy Order. Tylo explains that he's respected by all for protecting the saintesses and humans. But Nebby isn't so sure. Does he really want to protect them? Tylo's hands still in her hair, he remembers some advice he was given. He could either try to impress her with his actions or just be direct. Be direct, what does that mean? It means confess, tell her he likes her and wants to be with her forever. Coming back to the present, Tylo takes a deep breath. Nebby, I have something to tell you. She smiles, ready to listen. But the poor boy is so nervous he can barely get the words out. Meanwhile, in another room, Tatos is lounging on his bed, getting impatient. He wonders why Nebby hasn't come to see him yet, before deciding to just take the initiative and go find her himself. He's never felt this way before, and he's totally freaking out. Nebby gently asks him what's wrong. He finally works up the courage, blushing furiously, Nebby I like. When a loud knock-knock echoes through the room, shattering the moment, they both turn towards the door. And who else would it be but Tatos, barging in with a smug "My dear Nebby, good." He throws the door open, completely ruining Tylo's one chance at a confession. Tylo immediately warns Nebby that this guy is dangerous and annoying. But it's too late, Tatos is already inside. He's already made himself comfortable at her table, casually asking why her little knight didn't want to open the door for him. Nebby explains that Tylo was just about to tell her something, and Tatos gives a fake saccharine apology for interrupting. His smug side-eye says it all. Tylo is practically shooting daggers from his eyes. But Tatos ignores him, telling Nebby he came because he has something important to say. She assumes it's about the High Deacon. But oh, she is so wrong. Tatos looks her dead in the eye and says, I like you. Tylo's world completely shatters. Tatos leans forward, asking for her answer. And our girl is so flustered, she tells him to stop joking. Hearing this, Tylo's heart sinks. Would she think he was joking too? But Tatos insists every word was sincere. He then puts on a show of backing off before turning to Tylo with a viciously sweet smile. So, Tylo, what did you want to say to Nebby? Cornered and flustered, Tylo completely loses his nerve. I just want to tell you that no matter what you plan to do next, I'll help you. Nebby's face softens, and she tells him he's the person she trusts the most. Ouch, welcome to the friend zone, buddy. Tatos does not look happy about their close bond at all. Nebby, oblivious to the romantic chaos, suggests they all discuss their plan. But elsewhere, a much darker plan is unfolding. The High Deacon is getting intimate with another saintess, Annie. He whispers in her ear, asking if she'll complete her mission. She promises to make Nebby believe her, and he tells her she's the only one he can trust. It seems our girl is about to be betrayed by one of her own. The High Deacon's web of lies is more tangled than anyone knows. Our girl asks where the High Deacon is, and Tylo reports he conveniently left for the capital this morning. Tatos is fuming, complaining that the snake ran away just as they were about to start their investigation. He has a really bad feeling about this, since no one ever knows what that guy is truly up to. He turns to Nebby, asking if she wants to go follow him and check it out. Our girl's mind starts racing. This is the perfect opportunity to expose his secrets. Tylo agrees, pointing out that with the High Deacon gone, they can finally sneak into his office and investigate. Nebby considers the plan, a determined look on her face. She realizes Tylo is absolutely right. Tatos adds that without the Holy Order watching, the Deacon is way more likely to show his true, nasty colors. And Tylo insists that if there are any clues, they'll be left in his office. So Nebby lays out the plan. Tatos will follow the High Deacon while she and Tylo will search the office. Tylo puffs out his chest, promising our girl he won't let her encounter any danger. She simply agrees. But Tatos is not having it and immediately objects, looking seriously unhappy. Nebby has to plead with him, saying this is the best way to get answers. He can't resist her earnest expression, thinking she's never asked him for anything so seriously before. He caves and agrees to leave. Our girl watches him go. He promises to complete his mission before heading out. The door slams shut behind him, leaving Nebby and Tylo alone. Tylo immediately questions her, asking if she's worried Tatos might betray them. But our girl is confident, saying that Tatos will definitely keep his promise. Tylo looks a little dejected, wondering when Nebby started trusting that demon so much. The narrator then tells us how perfect the High Deacon seems, working from morning till night. He has endless meetings and spends his nights studying how to fight demons. He's seen as the soul of the Holy Order, a beacon of hope for humanity. Ugh, give me a break. Back in the present, Nebby and Tylo sneak into the deacon's office. But after searching everywhere, they find absolutely nothing suspicious. Our girl starts to doubt herself. Could she have been wrong this whole time? Just as Tylo tries to reassure her, they hear a frantic knock at the door. A woman is outside, desperately calling for the High Deacon. They quickly hide as she begs him to open the door. Nebby is shocked, wondering who would be looking for him so late at night. The woman, Annie, is distraught that he's not there. Nebby immediately recognizes her name. Annie was one of the very first saintesses in the Holy Order. The next day in the cafeteria, Nebby is still troubled by what she saw. She recalls following Annie with Tylo the night before. After discovering the deacon was gone, Annie simply returned to her room, and she hasn't come out since. When Nebby saw her this morning, Annie seemed even more distant and strange. She had greeted her warmly but got a dead-eyed response. For a moment, our girl finds herself wishing Tatos was there to help her figure it out, which completely confuses her. She always wanted to get away from him, so why is she thinking that now? Tylo suddenly snaps her out of her daze. He gets dangerously close, noticing her flushed face and asking if she's sick. She quickly blames the heat, flustered by his proximity. Deciding she's done with all the guesswork, she resolves to just ask Annie what's going on. Tylo watches her go, clutching a flower bracelet he made for her, but he chickens out on giving it to her. Nebby finds Annie sitting alone. She gently approaches her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You look pale," she says. "Did something happen?" Annie nervously denies it, but she's clearly terrified. Our girl promises to help her no matter what's wrong. Finally, Annie breaks. She confesses that she feels like someone is following her, even watching her while she sleeps. Nebby is confused. They guarded her door all night and saw no one. Annie gets more frantic, saying she's having nightmares and feels like her every move is being controlled. She grabs onto Nebby, trembling. "Something is wrong with the Holy Order. Someone wants to hurt me." Nebby immediately pulls her into a hug, promising to stay in her room tonight and catch whoever is tormenting her. Later, while walking through the garden with Tylo, our girl wonders who it could be. Could the culprit really be the High Deacon? The mysteries just keep piling up. Tylo tells her to stop worrying and says he has a gift for her. He gently takes her hand and gives her a beautiful flower bracelet. Our girl is surprised, asking why he's giving it to her. He just looks at her with those soft, loving eyes. And honestly, the second lead syndrome is hitting hard right now. Our poor boy Tylo is stuck in a prison cell, getting love advice from the last person you'd expect. But the guy's heart melts seeing how innocent Tylo is, and he decides to drop some knowledge bombs. He schools him on the basics of romance. When you love someone, you have to treat them like a queen. You respect her, cherish her, and basically give her the entire world. An hour later, Tylo's next brilliant question is how to make flower bracelets. The guy is completely done, sighing that he's not a walking encyclopedia of romance crafts. But it seems the lesson stuck, because Tylo immediately goes to find our girl in the garden. He shyly presents her with a bouquet, saying he picked them because they're beautiful. Our girl is a little confused by this sudden gesture, so he elaborates with the sweetest, most rehearsed line ever. "Because the flowers are beautiful and spring is wonderful, so I wanted to give them to you." She looks at him, a little surprised but also touched by his sincerity. She graciously accepts the flowers, telling him she loves them. And Tylo looks like he just won the lottery. But of course, the moment is ruined by the arrival of the main man himself, Tatos, looking anything but pleased. Our girl is startled to see him back so soon. But he's already in full drama king mode, asking if she dislikes him that much. She tells him to cut the theatrics, and he explains he got bored and ditched his meetings. Then he gets dangerously close, whispering that he couldn't stand being away from her any longer. He admits he straight up cast a spell on the High Deacon just so he could come back to her. This man is chaotic. Our girl is flustered, telling him to back off, while poor Tylo watches this whole disaster unfold from the sidelines. His heart sinks, knowing he can never compete for her attention when Tatos is around. He clutches his chest as a sharp pain hits him. The classic pang of second lead heartbreak. Meanwhile, Tatos is already planning their evening, smugly telling Nebby he'll help her catch the stalker tonight. Tylo, bless his heart, tries to volunteer, but Tatos immediately shuts him down, declaring that his turn is over. Our girl makes the final call, choosing Tatos to go with her. Her logic is flawless. He's the demon king after all. Tylo looks absolutely crushed, but agrees to her decision like the sad puppy he is. Later that night, our girl and Tatos are staked out in a guest room, waiting for their target. But Tatos is more interested in grilling her about Tylo, his jealousy practically radiating off him. He gets right in her face, demanding to know what's wrong with her, accusing her of flirting with another man and hurting his feelings. Our girl is baffled, insisting she did no such thing. Tatos scoffs at Tylo's wonderful spring gift and declares the flowers ugly. Then, with a flick of his wrist, he turns the beautiful bouquet to dust right in her hands. The absolute savagery. But just when you think he's a total monster, he leans in and drops the smoothest line in history, "Because to me, you are the spring." Okay, fine, we'll forgive him. He closes the distance, whispering that he needs to leave another mark on her, asking where he should bite. He teases her neck, sending shivers down her spine. Our girl is a blushing mess, trying to get him to calm down. She reminds him they're on a mission, for crying out loud. He finally pulls back, looking genuinely remorseful, and admits his jealousy got the best of him. Our heroine is stunned. The great and powerful demon king is jealous. He confesses that he's not just jealous, he's afraid. Afraid that she'll leave him for someone else. Then he pulls the ultimate move, asking for just one kiss to make him feel better. She agrees and they share a tender moment. But of course, one kiss is never enough for this man. He claims the night god fragment in her body needs to reconnect with him, which is the most extra excuse for a make-out session I've ever heard. Suddenly, their reconnection is interrupted by a scream from the next room. Tados sighs, annoyed by the terrible timing. They rush over to find Annie asleep, but she's clearly having a nightmare. Nebby knows this is more than just a bad dream. Annie's been terrified for days. She touches Annie's hand and finds her ice cold and trembling. Then our girl catches a whiff of a strange scent coming from Annie's pillow. Tados immediately senses danger and tells her to be careful, throwing up a protective barrier just in time. A sinister smirk spreads across his face. Tusk, there really is something hidden here. In Annie's room, a sinister pink energy swirls above her bed. Our girl immediately spots the magic formation on the ceiling and looks up in shock. She realizes it's just like the ones Warden makes, meaning he has an accomplice right here in the Holy Order. Tados explains the dark magic's purpose: to give the victim nightmares, slowly weakening them, until they become completely fragile and easy to manipulate. It's a truly twisted form of psychological torture, leaving poor Annie vulnerable in her sleep. Our girl is horrified, recognizing it as a magical, far more terrifying version of gaslighting. Tados then gets a little too close for comfort, teasing that maybe he set up a similar spell around her asterisk. He leans in, whispering seductively, "So you can only rely on me, are you scared?" But our girl just scoffs in his face. He's taken aback, asking what's so funny. With a confident smile, she calls his bluff, saying he's too proud of his own charm to resort to such cheap tricks. She knows he'd rather act directly, because he has absolute confidence in his ability to make anyone fall for him. And boom, the Demon King is stunned silent by her praise. She asks if he can destroy the formation, and he immediately agrees. She beams, telling him how glad she is that he's here. Her words hit him like a lightning bolt. Before she can react, he pulls her into his arms and smashes his lips against hers. The chaotic Demon King strikes again. He holds her tight, whispering against her lips, accusing her asterisk of using a charm spell on him asterisk. Our girl is completely flustered. "Otherwise, why would I feel so happy just because you complimented me?" he asks, leaving her speechless, which apparently translates to a full hour of intense holding. Our poor girl's back is killing her. After their little session, Tatos finally dispels the evil formation, confirming there's a traitor in the order, but it's not the High Deacon. With the curse lifted, Annie finally wakes up. Nebby rushes to her side. Annie complains about a headache, but then she spots something on our girl's neck. "My neck," our girl asks, completely oblivious. Then the realization hits her like a truck as her face turns beet red. She quickly lies, saying it's just an annoying insect bite. Tatos, the smug jerk, chimes in from the background, asking if it was a cute insect. She shoots him a death glare and grits out, "No, a very annoying one." Annie just looks confused by their bizarre exchange. She explains her mental state has been getting worse lately, which makes sense now. But when asked if she saw anyone suspicious, she says she can't think of anyone. Tatos tells them it's late and they should all get some rest, assuring Annie she'll sleep soundly now. Our girl promises they'll find the traitor together. As they leave the room, Annie's innocent facade completely drops. A sinister smirk plays on her lips as she scoffs, "An insect bite? Do they think I'm a fool?" Yikes, the call is coming from inside the house. Out in the hall, Tatos pulls our girl close, musing that he'll have to change his approach now. But when she gets back to her room, another man is waiting for her, Tylo. He anxiously asks if she caught the intruder. She admits things are more complicated than she thought, but Tylo's eyes are glued to her neck. He grabs her frantic, asking if she's hurt. She repeats her lame insect bite excuse, but Tylo isn't buying it for a second. His eyes narrow. Did Tatos do this? The silence is all the confirmation he needs. His eyes burn with pure rage as he declares he will kill the saint if she just says the word. Our girl panics and immediately shuts that down. She tries to defend Tatos, saying he's not as bad as he seems. Defeated, Tylo agrees to back down for her sake, but inside, his heart is a storm of jealousy and a desperate desire to have her all to himself. He watches her lost in thought, wondering if he needs to be more aggressive, more like Tatos, to win her affection. The next morning, things are already getting spicy. Annie finds Tatos in the dining hall and gives him a sweet good morning. But when she tries to cozy up and sit next to him, she's violently shoved away by an invisible force. Our poor girl goes in for the tackle, but Tatos dodges like a pro, sending her face planting right onto the marble floor. She can't believe he moved. Oof, that's gonna leave a mark. Her plan to get his attention definitely backfired. She can only watch as he walks away without a single backward glance. Oh, she is fuming. He will definitely pay for this humiliation. Meanwhile, Nebby is stewing in her own corner, watching Annie get all buddy-buddy with Tatos. She just cannot understand why those two are sitting together. And of course, Tatos is just soaking up all the attention from our poor, traumatized heroine. Look at that smug grin on his face. The gang finally gets together, and Nebby explains she was off investigating at the medical department. Helly notes that Annie is looking much better. Annie gives all the credit to Nebby and Tatos, saying she finally got a good night's sleep because of them. She even admits that when Tatos first arrived, she thought he was a total cynic. But now seeing him puts her completely at ease, and Nebby is not having it. Our girl is absolutely disgusted, thinking Annie has a crush on Tatos and is only getting this attention because of her. The sight of them together is just too much. Annie, completely oblivious, asks Nebby if she and Tatos are close. Nebby immediately denies it, but Tatos gives a knowing little smirk from the side. He can see Nebby looks unhappy, and his mind immediately jumps to one conclusion. Could she possibly be jealous? He thinks to himself that she still doesn't realize how much he cares for her. Out loud, he agrees with her, yes, Nebby and I aren't very close. He smooths it over by saying he just asks her questions because she's the chief saintess, then offers his help to Annie too. The nerve of this guy. Thankfully, Helly cuts in, trying to get them back on track. He internally scoffs at Tatos' playboy antics, already trying to get close to another saintess. Nebby is lost in thought for a moment, before snapping back to reality and agreeing to discuss the case. Helly steels himself. Nebby reveals her suspicion. The culprit uses a mind control formation, which means Annie was probably not his first victim. This means their guy is an expert and has probably hurt a ton of people already. Helly wonders why no one has ever cried for help. Nebby suspects it's because the victims were so completely controlled, they didn't even have a way to speak out. Annie confirms it, saying the one time she felt like asking for help, the thought completely vanished by the next morning. Tatos looks at her with such pity. The memory alone is enough to make her tremble. Tatos dramatically declares, Nebby, we must protect Annie. Our girl just gives him a blank stare, but agrees Tatos can't hide his satisfaction. Nebby points out that it's all just speculation with no proof. But Tatos cuts her off, revealing he used to study useless formations before he became a saint. He knows a special technique called a retrospective formation, but he'll need a drop of Annie's blood. Annie quickly agrees. He explains that once the formation absorbs her blood, it will automatically seek out anyone nearby who has been controlled by the same magic. All they have to do is place their hands on the formation to see the results. As they place their hands over the glowing circle, the magic activates. Nebby is absolutely horrified. How can there be so many people? The vision shows an entire room of saintesses all under the same spell. Tatos is stressed. This is bad, this is really, really bad. They've all been completely controlled. Nebby is filled with a righteous fury. She has to catch this monster. But when they interview the other victims, it's a dead end. One girl just dreamily recalls a beautiful memory of her first love. She goes on and on about how close they were, and how she has no regrets, a complete fabrication. Back in Nebby's room, they realize the problems. All the victims talk about a perfect first love, but their records show they had zero dating experience before joining the order. Tatos connects the dots. The culprit attacks them, then implants a fake happy memory of a first love so they forget everything. It's the perfect crime. Annie is shaken, realizing how close she came to being a permanent victim. Tatos tells her not to worry, but she'll have to act as bait to lure him out. Annie bravely agrees, saying she can do it because she knows they'll protect her. Tatos gives her a reassuring smile as she thanks him, all while Nebby watches from the sidelines with a stormy expression. He then asks Helly to escort Annie back to her room and check for any magical traces. As Annie says her goodbyes, Nebby is left alone with her chaotic thoughts. She can't figure out why she gets so irritated seeing Tatos and Annie together. Could this jealousy also be a side effect of her soul connection? Our girl Annie thanks Tatos for his help and casually invites him to her room for tea. But Tatos isn't buying this innocent act for a second, immediately questioning why he'd ever go to her room. Annie tries to play it off, asking if he isn't going to check for leftover magic from the formation. He's completely unfazed. Oh, no need, you can go back, he says, turning to leave like she's nothing more than a mild inconvenience. In a panic, she screams for him to wait, grabbing his arm before he can get away. She decides to just lay all her cards on the table, admitting she knows he's using her to test our girl Nebby. He smirks, a dangerous glint in his eye. "Oh, and how are you going to help me?" With a sudden burst of confidence, she declares her brilliant and totally not insane plan. They can pretend to be a couple, acting all lovey-dovey to make Nebby jealous and panic that she's about to lose him. He actually seems to consider it for a moment, but then he shuts her down with a single savage question: "Why should I listen to you?" He turns his back on her, making it clear she's been dismissed. "This is between Nebby and me," he states coldly. "We don't need your interference." He warns her that if she does anything to bother Nebby, his eyes flash a terrifying, demonic red as he threatens her very safety. Annie is left trembling in his wake, absolutely stunned. The sheer killing intent in his eyes was no joke. She realizes Tatos is a full-blown lunatic, far more dangerous than she ever imagined. But she quickly collects herself, scoffing at his intimidation tactics. After all, she knows there's another man vying for Nebby's heart. In a flashback from a few hours ago, we see Annie approaching Tylo. She cuts right to the chase, asking him directly if he likes Nebby. Tylo plays dumb, pretending he has no idea what she's talking about. But Annie sees right through him, assuring him his secret is safe with her. She then spins a lie about liking Tatos herself, proposing they team up to win over their respective crushes. Tylo listens quietly, a seed of doubt and desperation now planted in his mind. Back in the present, we find our poor heroine Nebby looking miserable in her room. Tylo enters, gently asking if she's in a bad mood. He suggests they take a walk in the garden to lift her spirits, and she agrees. As they stroll through the beautiful grounds, Nebby can't hide her anxiety, asking if Tatos and Annie are still together in the room. She worries out loud that checking the room shouldn't take this long. Tylo gets straight to the heart of the matter, asking if she's upset about them being together. Nebby gets flustered, denying it with all her might, insisting she couldn't care less. Seizing his chance, Tylo asks, "Then do you care about me?" He moves closer, his voice full of devotion as he tells her she's the only one who matters to him in the entire world. The air grows thick with tension and unspoken feelings. He leans in, his voice a whisper, "So do you think now that I'm a little better than Tatos?" And Tylo's eyes are filled with a desperate hope. He finally confesses, "Nebby, I like you very much, how about you?" But as he leans in to seal his confession with a kiss, our girl retreats, shutting him down completely. She places a hand on his chest, stopping him in his tracks. She tries to let him down easy, blaming their closeness on proximity and saying he must have misunderstood his own feelings. But Tylo isn't having it. He grabs her hand, insisting his feelings are real. He doesn't want to be just her knight, he wants to be her only companion. Nebby is stunned into silence, pulling her hand away once more. Tylo looks utterly crushed by the rejection, clutching his chest as if to hold his breaking heart together. Nebby delivers the final blow, friend-zoning him into oblivion. With a bitter smile, Tylo asks the one question he already knows the answer to: "So you like Tatos, right?" Her blush is all the confirmation he needs. Even as she denies it, he calls her out, telling her she's a completely different person when Tatos is around. He points out how her every emotion is tied to him and how her eyes follow him constantly. He's seen the way she looks at Tatos, and he says that look is painfully familiar to him. And then he shatters all of our hearts with one devastating line: "Because that's how I've always looked at you." Nebby is completely speechless, trying to rationalize her feelings as a side effect of the soul fragment. Tylo knows she didn't deny it, and his heart sinks. He wonders what he's supposed to do now that he knows she loves another man. Annie's manipulative words echo in his mind, urging him to fight for her, to snatch her away from Tatos. He almost gives in to his jealousy, but he stops himself. He doesn't want to see Nebby sad or lost. He decides her happiness is more important than his own. He tells her to stop avoiding her feelings and confess to Tatos if she's sure. He gives her his blessing, saying she deserves to be happy even if it's not with him. Nebby is moved to tears, promising he'll always be her most important partner. Tylo forces a smile, saying that's enough for him. But in his heart, he knows he's lying. The pain is unbearable, but he resolves to get used to it for her sake. Meanwhile, the villains have been watching this whole heartbreaking exchange unfold. Annie is furious that Tylo gave up so easily, ruining her plans. But her servant has a new, more sinister idea: use Tylo to destroy Nebby and Tatos for good. He explains that as an artificial human, Tylo has a natural hatred for demons. The only reason he's holding back is because he thinks Tatos is a fellow saint. The evil plan is set. What will happen when the heartbroken, vulnerable Tylo finds out that the man Nebby loves is actually the Demon King? Annie sets the stage for the nightly stakeout, trusting the team to handle it. But Tylo has his own chaotic ideas for the plan. He tells the head guard that he and our girl can just hide in the closet again. He then gives the guard the most insane order: protect Nebby, and if things go south, literally push the Demon King out as a meat shield. Our girl ever the cool cucumber just says not to worry. But someone is watching this whole exchange with eagle eyes. Annie smells drama and she is not happy about it. She can't believe Tylo would be dumb enough to put Nebby alone with Tatos. Tossing and turning in bed, her jealousy rages. She can't let Nebby get a happy ending, not when the high deacon is counting on her to cause misery. Meanwhile, the awkwardness in the stakeout closet is thicker than a $2 steak. Our poor heroine is panicking, wondering how she's supposed to face Tatos now, especially squished together in this tiny space. Tatos, never one to beat around the bush, immediately asks if Tylo tried anything funny while he was gone. Our girl drops the bomb. He confessed to me. Tatos is visibly shook. Oh, what? He immediately grills her, demanding to know how she replied. When she tries to dodge the question, he goes for the jugular, threatening to just go ask Tylo himself. He reminds her with a smug look that as the Demon King, he always gets what he wants. Nebby is thrown into a spiral of doubt. She's grown comfortable with Tatos, almost forgetting he's the enemy. But reality comes crashing back in. They are fundamentally on opposite sides. He despises humans and she will never, ever abandon her people for the demons. The chasm between them feels impossibly wide. With a heavy heart, she thinks, how could I possibly like him? It's wrong. She finally gives him an answer, telling him she rejected Tylo. But Tatos, ever hopeful, immediately asks if it was because of him. He's practically glowing with anticipation, only for our girl to deliver the most savage double rejection in history. I rejected Tylo because I don't like him, but Tatos, I don't like you either. She twists the knife, explaining that the soul fragment only affects her body, not her heart, and she's never had a single feeling for him. The light completely dies in his eyes. He looks utterly devastated, asking if she thinks he doesn't have a heart that can be broken. The pain on his face is just gut-wrenching. She starts to say something else, but he cuts her off, begging her to lie to him instead of telling him such a cruel truth. And then he does the only thing he can think of, he kisses her. She pushes him back, asking if he's going to force himself on her again. He looks away, defeated. I'm sorry, he says, a rare moment of vulnerability. The air is thick with heartbreak. He then makes a vow, from now on, I'll keep my distance from you. The next morning, the mood is grim. Tylo tries to cover for them, claiming they're just tired from an all-nighter. Since the culprit was a no-show, Annie suggests he's getting suspicious. So our brave heroine makes a bold declaration. She'll act as bait to lure him out. Both Tylo and Tatos immediately scream no way, in perfect horrified unison. Tylo protests that it's far too dangerous. Tatos is absolutely livid, yelling at her for being so reckless. But Nebby stands her ground, refusing to let more people get hurt. Seeing he can't change her mind, Tatos turns away, his voice dripping with ice. Fine, do as you please. He walks off, coldly wishing her success. She can only watch him go, his name a whisper on her lips. Annie seizes the opportunity for some classic girl talk, aka manipulation. She sends Tylo away so they can be alone. And he reluctantly agrees. Annie immediately asks about the argument with Tatos, admitting she can see they're close. Nebby sadly explains that their relationship is wrong and she's decided to keep her distance. But she confesses that her heart is aching over it. Annie swoops in with some poisonous advice, telling Nebby she's doing the right thing and must stay strong no matter what Tatos does. Our poor confused heroine promises she will. The man in black desperately calls out to Tatos, trying to get him to wait. He rushes forward and grabs his arm, but Tatos is having none of it. With eyes colder than ice, he simply says, let go. The man is stunned into silence. But Tatos isn't just using words. He unleashes a savage wave of pure energy. The poor guy is sent flying, crashing hard into a pillar. Tatos doesn't even look back, just huffs and continues on his way. The man is left on the floor, absolutely shook, wondering how it's even possible for Tatos to have that kind of power. Just then a woman approaches, asking if he's all right. He picks himself up, insisting he's fine. But she's already planting seeds of doubt, commenting that Tatos' power looked an awful lot like something a demon would do. She asks the forbidden question, could Tatos not be human? He tries to shut it down, saying it's a terrible joke because demons can't enter the holy order. But this snake is prepared. She argues that demon nobles can bewitch people and the demon king himself can hide his aura and alter memories. She plays it off as just rumors and apologizes for the inappropriate joke, telling him to just forget she said anything. But it's too late, his mind is already spiraling. What if it's true? He thinks about our girl Nebby and her supposed feelings for Tatos, wondering if it's all part of some grand conspiracy. That's it, he's decided he has to get to the bottom of this chaotic mess. And the woman who started it all just watches him go with a smug, knowing smile. Her plan worked perfectly. We cut to see her lounging with a silver-haired man who asks why she didn't just tell the guy Tatos was the Demon King. She explains that would be too obvious and look like a setup. Instead, they'll let him investigate on his own. When he finds out the truth, the shock will break him, turning him into their perfect puppet. These two are master manipulators. He praises her intelligence and they revel in their evil plan. Meanwhile, in Tatos' room, things are going haywire. A dark, chaotic energy explodes from him, destroying everything in sight. His eyes glow a terrifying red as he goes berserk, and a hooded woman panics, realizing he's gone completely mad. She freaks out, yelling that he's going to destroy the entire building. The destructive energy swirls around him like a hurricane. She begs him to wake up, but it's no use. The force of his power sends her flying. She knows his power is out of control and no one can stop him. She looks up in terror, knowing that even her own magic is barely enough to escape. But just as the chaos reaches its peak, Tatos seems to snap out of it slightly, his gaze landing on his own wrist. His voice is low and dangerous as he looks at the simple bracelet. A memory floods his mind, a happy day at the market with our girl Nebby. He remembers her sweet smile as she thanked him. The memory seems to break through his rage and he clutches his head, whispering her name. The anger fades, replaced by pure heartbreak. Nebby said she doesn't like me, he murmurs. He can't understand it. Even with a literal god fragment, she still rejected him. He wonders why human hearts are so complicated. The hooded woman is internally seething, furious that a mere human could hurt her majesty so deeply. This is not good at all. She decides to intervene, asking if he's really going to give up and let Nebby fall for someone else. She pushes him, telling him to try a different approach, one that Nebby would actually like. And just like that, the fire returns to his eyes. He realizes she's right. He decides that if Nebby likes gentleness, he'll be gentle. He now has a new plan. The high priestess watches him go, thinking that while this wasn't her original plan, it works just as well. Her true goal is revealed. Nebby must become the queen of the demon race and bear a demon child, ensuring the demons become the rulers of the world. This woman is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Back in the garden, our girl is also scheming. She knows her target likes weak, introverted girls, so she plans to put on an act to lure him out. And speak of the devil, Tatos appears right on cue. She's startled, but he quickly reassures her he won't do anything. He just smiles gently, saying he was worried and came to give her some advice. Tatos warns our girl that the enemy will likely disguise himself and play the victim, so she can't trust anyone. He then promises to always protect her from a distance, and our poor heroine looks like she might just swoon. He explains their plan. They can't just wait around, they need to create an opportunity for the demon to strike. An opportunity, she asks, her eyes wide with curiosity. He leans in close, his voice a low whisper, suggesting a complete break with someone close to her. And so the performance begins. Tatos launches into a dramatic monologue, saying he finally understands that his affection is nothing but a disgusting burden to her. Our girl is shocked, trying to tell him he's wrong. But he's already in characters, coldly declaring that he'll stay away from her from now on. With a final heart-wrenching goodbye Nebby, he turns and walks away. And our girl's heart absolutely shatters. She can't believe how much it hurts, feeling like she's losing him for real. She almost runs after him, a desperate plea on her lips. But one of her ladies-in-waiting shows up at the worst possible moment, asking if she's all right. Nebby quickly pulls herself together, saying she just wants some time alone. She sighs in relief, thinking she almost broke character and chased after him. But get this, Tatos is hiding behind a tree, fuming because she didn't chase him. The absolute audacity of this man. He leans against the tree, feeling the sting of his own fake, cruel words. Elsewhere, her lady-in-waiting is cornered by the second male lead, who asks a very suspicious question about how to identify demons. She smugly replies that she knows of a special wine that can leave marks on them. With the trap being set, our girl begins her part of the plan. She spends the next few days acting completely heartbroken and depressed for all to see. Soon, the entire Holy Order is buzzing with rumors that she and Tatos had a massive fight and broke up. She really sells the whole devastated and depressed act, spending her days sitting on a bench, looking sad and vulnerable. All the while, she can feel her overprotective guard dog, Tatos, watching her from the shadows. Finally, after 7 long nights of this charade, our girl is getting impatient. Just as she thinks the plan is a failure, a loud bang echoes through the garden. A young man has taken a dramatic tumble right in front of her. She rushes to his side, asking if he's all right as he clutches his leg in pain. He looks up at her with big innocent eyes, stammering her title. She gently tells him to just call her Nebby, but then she spots the blood soaking through his pants. She's immediately filled with concern. He politely refuses her offer of help, saying it wouldn't be proper for them to be alone in a room together. So our girl insists on bringing the medicine out to the garden, taking his hand to help him up. As she helps the boy, she remembers who he is. It's Henry, a quiet saint who joined 5 years ago. A total wallflower who never stands out. From their hiding spot, her companions agree that on the surface, he doesn't seem like their target. They watch unconvinced, but up on the roof, someone is not having it. Tatos is literally vibrating with rage. How dare this trash let Nebby help him? He's absolutely losing his mind over a little scrape. Why has she never been this gentle with me? He wails. And then a truly chaotic light bulb goes off in his head. Wait, am I not bleeding enough? Am I not weak and helpless enough to get her attention? He wonders, a mischievous glint in his eye as he hatches a new terrible plan. Back on the bench, Nebby tends to Henry's leg with a first aid kit. She asks why he's so nervous. He explains he's just a nobody who loves the quiet of the garden. And this is where our girl's performance gets an Oscar. She starts thinking about how Tados is the true king of playing the victim, and how she's suddenly feeling like something is off. Because let's be real, nobody outdramas Tados. She tells Henry she understands his loneliness, launching into a sob story about how nobody sees the real her behind the saintess title. But Henry suddenly blurts out that he was attracted to her even before he knew who she was. Our girl is completely stunned by the sudden confession. Really? She asks, her eyes wide with surprise. And from their respective hiding spots, both the second male lead and Tados are freaking out, with Tados realizing with dawning horror, "Are you imitating me?" Henry lays it on thick, telling Nebby she's the most unique girl he's ever met. Our girl plays her part perfectly, acting all shy and flattered. Henry, the blushing fool, immediately agrees to see her again. Nebby seals the deal with a dazzling smile, thanking fate for their meeting. She calls it destiny, and he's completely eating it up. From afar, her friends are impressed with her game, wondering where she learned to be so smooth. Meanwhile, poor Tados, who's been doing the actual flirting, is cringing so hard he's about to fall off a roof. Later that night, the team debriefs in Nebby's room. She lays out the plan: keep getting close to Henry and wait for him to make a move so they can finally expose him. Her friend agrees it's a solid strategy, telling Nebby she did a great job and should get some rest. But once our girl is alone, her thoughts drift. She finds herself thinking of a certain silver-haired demon with mischievous red eyes. It's so quiet without Tados' constant chattering, and she actually misses it. Tylo interrupts her thoughts, asking if something's wrong, but she quickly brushes it off. She heads off to wash up, leaving a very suspicious Tylo behind. He's been thinking about Tados too, but for a very different reason. Tylo knows of a special wine that's delicious to humans, but absolute poison to demons, and he's just one ingredient away from brewing some to test his theory on Tados. Back in her room, Nebby shakes off her thoughts, knowing Tylo almost saw right through her. She tells herself she has to focus on the mission and keep her distance from Tados. But what she doesn't know is that he's right there with her, invisible. He sadly watches her from afar, respecting her wish for space. He whispers a silent goodnight, wishing he could comfort her for real. He gently pats her head before disappearing, leaving our poor girl completely confused as to why she felt a phantom touch. Over the next few days, Operation Seduce the Scumbag is in full swing. Henry continues to be the perfect gentleman, showering her with compliments. He keeps trying to create this weird bond, saying they're kindred spirits, and Nebby admits that if she wasn't on guard, she might have actually fallen for his act. But she's not falling for it. She knows without a doubt that this smiling angel is the monster who's been harming the other saintesses. And just like that, the fish takes the bait. Henry invites her to a secret room on the top floor where they can have tea and enjoy the view. This is it, our girl immediately agrees, knowing he's finally making his move. Confident that she'll finally be able to expose him. Tylo is worried, thinking the plan is way too dangerous. But Nebby is determined, insisting it's the fastest way. So he gives her a sapphire necklace that will allow them to communicate, and a hidden sleeve dart for self-defense. He makes her promise to call for help the second something feels wrong. She assures him she will, ready to make this creep pay for his crimes. The next day, Henry leads her to a tower at the edge of the grounds. He holds the door open for her, looking every bit the charming gentleman. Nebby takes a deep breath and steps inside as the doors slam shut behind her. Outside, Tylo and her friend wait anxiously, while inside, an invisible Tados has snuck in to keep an eye on things. The room is just an old storage area that Henry claims he tidied up. He offers to make her some tea, but Nebby's spidey senses are tingling. He offers her the cup, but she cleverly deflects, asking to see the view first, thinking the tea is probably drugged. And that's when the mask completely shatters. Henry's friendly demeanor vanishes as he asks if she's afraid he'll poison the tea. Nebby tries to play dumb, but he's done with the games. He calls her acting good, but says he's seen that determined look in the eyes of his other victims before. With a snap of his fingers, a magical formation activates on the floor, and our girl collapses, her strength suddenly gone. She grabs the necklace to call for help, but there's no response. The room is blocking all communication magic. Henry starts monologuing like a classic villain, admitting he finds her far more interesting than the other boring girls. Nebby calls him a perverted lunatic, but he just scoffs, claiming he gave those girls happy memories. He gets uncomfortably close, telling her he wants to keep her by his side forever. And then he reveals his truly twisted plan. The magic circle will slowly destroy her mind and turn her into his mindless, obedient This creep Henry grabs our girls, warning her that no one can save her now. He leans in, his breath reeking of entitlement, and has the audacity to tell her she's beautiful enough for him to enjoy in advance. Our girl is having none of this nonsense and tells him to get lost. She shoves him back with all her might, screaming, "Don't touch me." He just scoffs, but suddenly an arrow flies out of nowhere and strikes him. They both collapse to the ground, but Henry manages to pull the enchanted arrow from his side. He smirks, realizing Nebby had a trick up her sleeve after all. Leaving her to her fate, he sneers that she should just stay here and enjoy herself. A cursed formation of thorns activates, and he smugly tells her she won't be able to hold out for much longer. He gives her one last disgusting look, promising that when he returns, she'll be begging for his touch. The curse takes hold, and our poor heroine's head feels like it's about to explode. She desperately clings to consciousness, grabbing the arrow she used to stab herself, hoping the pain will keep her awake. She grits her teeth, fighting the overwhelming magic. She has to stay strong for Tylo, who's waiting for her outside. But the darkness is too much and she collapses, calling out for Tatos. In her fading vision, she sees him reaching for her, and she cries out, terrified of forgetting him. His name is the last thing on her lips. As the thorny curse closes in, Henry returns, shocked that she's somehow still conscious. He tells her to stop struggling, that she can't escape him. But just as he says that, the entire door gets obliterated. A massive wave of power sends Henry flying across the room. He coughs up blood, completely stunned by the raw force. And there in the doorway is her knight in shining armor, Tatos, holding our girl in his arms. He gently cradles her as she lies unconscious. But Henry, the delusional psycho, isn't done yet, sputtering that the formation is still active and she'll be his. Tatos' expression turns absolutely murderous. "What did you say?" he growls, his power flaring to life. With a single flex, he shatters Henry's precious formation into a million pieces. Henry can't believe his eyes. His strongest barrier was destroyed in an instant. Tatos' eyes glow a terrifying red as he snarls, "You're courting death." And shadowy tendrils erupt from the ground, binding Henry completely. The creep screams as the dark energy chokes the life out of him. He's about to be sent to the shadow realm. But our girl weakly calls out Tatos' name. She pleads with him not to kill Henry just yet, saying she still needs answers. Like a switch being flipped, Tatos calms down and simply agrees. He releases his hold, and Henry crumples to the floor like a discarded puppet. Finally safe, Nebby breaks down in tears in his arms. Tatos holds her close, comforting her and promising to heal her as she thanks him for saving her. She tearfully thanks him for hearing her call just as backup finally arrives. It's Tylo, and he looks frantic. He immediately rushes forward, demanding that Tatos hand her over. But as he reaches for her, Tatos gives him a look that could freeze hell over. "Get out," he commands, his voice dangerously low. "I won't let Nebby leave my sight." The tension between the two men is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Tylo pulls his hand back, wincing in pain as if he was burned. He realizes in that moment that Tatos is no mere human. His eyes then land on the table, spotting the final ingredient for a dangerous concoction. The story flashes back, revealing Henry's crimes were exposed, causing a massive uproar. It turns out he was a serial killer who preyed on young girls during his missions. Now he's locked away in a cell, awaiting his final judgment. After that chaotic night, our girl was in a coma for 5 long days. She remembers a gentle, healing force surrounding her, and she knew in her heart it was Tatos. A soft voice asks if she's awake, and she opens her eyes to see him watching over her. He leans in close, telling her she's almost fully recovered. He then pulls back, saying he should leave since he knows she's wary of him. But our girl looks almost panicked at the thought of him going. She quickly stops him, asking him to stay and drink some medical wine with her. And right on cue, Tylo walks in with a tray. Tatos seems surprised that there's a cup for him too. Tylo admits that Tatos deserves it for saving Nebby's life, explaining that the wine will help them both recover. But as Tatos takes the cup, his expression changes. He immediately recognizes the scent of a dangerous substance mixed within the wine. Tatos looks suspiciously at the cup Tylo is offering. Tylo, that snake, insists the drink is good for his health and he should just chug it down. Looking to our girl for confirmation, Tatos says he'll only drink it if she wants him to. But Nebby can't shake the feeling that Tylo is up to something seriously shady. Still, Tatos trusts her and downs the entire glass in one go. He's silent for a moment, handing the empty cup back. With a smirk, he says the legendary Eclipse wine tastes just as good as they say. But then the glass shatters on the floor. Tatos collapses onto the bed and Nebby rushes to his side, asking what's wrong. Suddenly, thorny patterns begin to appear out of thin air, and our girl watches in horror. Tatos clutches his chest, ugly black marks spreading across his skin as he screams in agony. Nebby can only stare at the horrifying patterns covering his body. He falls to the floor, writhing in pain, begging her not to look at him. And that's when Tylo makes his move, drawing a sword and revealing the devastating truth. "Tatos, you really are a demon." He points the blade right at Tatos' throat, ready to end him. Nebby can't believe her ears. Tatos finally understands. The eclipse wine is a poison specifically for demons, causing unbearable burning pain. The agony is unimaginable. He looks at Nebby, his voice laced with sarcastic relief, thinking she was innocent in this plot. Our poor girl can only stammer, completely at a loss. Tylo yells for Nebby to get away from the deceived demon so he can deliver the final blow. He raises his sword high, his face a mask of righteous fury, but just as he's about to strike, Nebby throws herself in front of Tatos, shielding him with her own body. She defends him, shouting that even though he's a demon, he's never hurt a single soul. "You can't kill him," she declares. Tylo is completely floored, the pieces clicking into place in his mind. He asks the one question that changes everything. Did you know from the beginning that Tados was a demon? And with zero hesitation, our girl admits it all. Yes, I knew. Tylo absolutely loses it, ranting about how demons are the cruel enemies of humanity. The betrayal is too much for his tiny brain to handle, and he promptly faints from the shock. Tatos, even while being tortured, casually remarks he's so noisy and uses a flick of his magic to make sure the guy stays down. Nebby immediately rushes back to Tatos' side, but he tries to push her away, not wanting her to see him like this. A wave of dark energy ensures Tylo won't be waking up anytime soon. Nebby cries out Tatos' name. As he writhes in agony on the bed, she's panicking, desperate to find a way to help him. When she touches his forehead, his skin is burning hot. He tries to tough it out, insisting the effects will wear off in 24 hours. But she refuses to just stand by and watch him suffer. Then an idea sparks. She has half of the night god fragment inside her, surely that can help. But he shuts her down, saying it's useless since she doesn't have him in her heart, so the fragments can't resonate. Her face falls, but she's not giving up. Tatos tries to comfort her, telling her not to worry. But our girl has a new plans. "So I really can help you," she says with sudden confidence. She leans over him, holding him gently. His crimson eyes go wide with shock. He starts to protest, but she cuts him off with a single savage command, "Shut up," and then she kisses him. As their lips meet, the curse marks on his neck begin to dissipate. He pulls back, stunned, asking how it's possible when she said she didn't love him. And that's when she drops the bomb. "I'm sorry, Tatos, I lied to you." She looks him straight in the eye, and finally confesses her true feelings. "Actually, I've liked you for a long time." In a flash, he flips their positions, pinning her beneath him with a hungry look in his eyes. He demands she say it again, pretending he didn't hear her the first time. He leans in close, his breath on her skin. And she repeats, "Tatos, I like you," but she quickly corrects herself. "No," she says, her voice trembling slightly, "I love you." A radiant smile breaks across his face. "Nebby, I'm so happy," he whispers. When she asks how he feels, he says he's comfortable, but now he's feeling a different kind of heat. And before she can blink, the man is pulling off his shirt, revealing a glorious set of abs. Her eyes widen in confusion. Tatos leans in, his voice a low purr. "It's probably because the kiss wasn't enough, we need to be more intimate." And our girl, without a shred of hesitation, simply says, "All right." He pulls back, shocked by her boldness. "I said all right," she confirms, meeting his gaze. "Please continue." A wicked smirk plays on his lips. "Nebby, you won't regret this." And just like that, clothes start hitting the floor. The two separated fragments of the night god's power are finally calling to one another, pulling together until at last, they become one perfect whole. "Tatos," she whispers back, "I love you too." As night falls, a lone figure walks the cold stone corridors. It's Annie, and she's found the rat who's been causing all the problems. She looms over him, her voice dripping with ice. "So it was you, manipulating everything from the shadows." The power dynamic has completely flipped, and she looks down on him like he's nothing. She admits she just gave him a little nudge, but he was the one who went full-on psycho trying to get Nebby. He spits back, vowing to expose her true colors. Annie just scoffs, daring him to try. A terrifying dark magic erupts from her hands, coiling like a serpent. "That is," she sneers, "if you can even remember any of this." He collapses, his memory wiped clean, and she coldly declares that he got what he deserved. For a moment, her mask slips, a flicker of something in her eyes, before the dark power she wielded sinks back into her own body. Later, she meets with the High Deacon, who's just returned. He claims he came back early just to see her. What a charmer. She blushes, admitting she missed him too. He gently caresses her face, praising her for a job well done and clearing her name. Feeling bold, she asks for a reward and he agrees, but says he needs one last favor. His smile is just a little too sharp. Of course, she's completely smitten and agrees to do anything for him. He leans in close, whispering that she's the perfect saintess for him. And as his hand rests on her chest, a dark energy flows from her into him. "I'm almost reluctant to part with you," he murmurs, and we all know what that means. Meanwhile, Nebby finds our girl Tylo. Looking distraught, he immediately asks if the demon king hurt her. But Tylo looks up with tears in her eyes. She confesses that even though she knows Tatos is the demon king, she still loves him and Nebby's world shatters. He desperately tries to talk some sense into her, reminding her Tatos wants to kill all humans. But then Tylo drops an absolute bombshell. Half of the night god's soul is inside her body. Nebby is completely speechless. She asks if he's going to kill her now, but he would never. She begs him to trust her, to believe there's a peaceful way to end the war. He finally agrees, but on one condition: he must be allowed to stay by her side as her knight. Our girl accepts, a small, hopeful smile on her face. But the drama is far from over. Someone knocks on Annie's door, telling her it's time to go. When there's no answer, they find her unconscious in bed, blood dripping from her lips. Footsteps thunder down the hall. As Tatos bursts in looking frantic, he yells that Annie is dying, and everyone panics. As Tylo rushes to leave, Tatos grabs her, his expression grim. He questions why Annie would suddenly be in danger. Nebby insists they have to go see for themselves. Tatos turns to him, a challenge in his eyes, and Nebby's own eyes glow with power as he confirms he's going. They arrive at Annie's room to find a grim scene. Tylo rushes to the doctor, asking what's wrong. The diagnosis is dire, they can't find the cause, and she has less than a day to live. The other girls are heartbroken. Tylo kneels by the bed, trying to wake her friend, when a familiar dark energy flares on Annie's forehead. Tatos immediately recognizes the foul magic. Just then, the High Deacon makes his grand entrance. The girls immediately beg him to save Annie. With a calm and reassuring smile, he says to leave it to him. He pulls out the legendary Holy Stone, a relic containing the light god's power, and places it on Annie's chest to purify her. But something goes horribly wrong. The deacon suddenly coughs up a spray of blood. Staggering back in shock, he reveals the horrifying truth. Annie is afflicted with a death curse, most likely planted by Henry. Tylo is confused, asking how that's possible when Henry is in prison. The deacon explains he found Annie's bracelet in Henry's cell. Before he collapses completely, the doctor rushes to his side, explaining that the deacon suffered a massive backlash from the Holy Stone. If he had tried to heal her for even 1 second longer, the curse would have killed him instead. The funeral bells toll for the fallen saintess Annie. Everyone has gathered to mourn her tragic passing, or so it seems. The other saintesses whisper about how pitiful Annie was, and how the High Deacon nobly lost half his life trying to save her. Tatos tells our girl not to blame herself, vowing that the one who did this will be punished. And just as they're discussing him, the man of the hour arrives. It's the High Deacon, looking oh so somber. He plays the part of the grieving leader perfectly, lamenting that he couldn't save Annie. Nebby lays the praise on thick, reminding him how everyone saw him risk his life. Tatos chimes in, saying the deacon's reputation has soared because of his heroic act. The deacon humbly brushes it off, claiming he only cares for their safety and the future of humanity. Right? He begins the ceremony, gathering everyone to bid farewell to Annie. But this isn't just a funeral. Henry, the accused murderer, is dragged in by the guards. The High Deacon announces that today is also the day of Henry's final judgment. Henry is forced to his knees, completely defeated. The deacon launches into a grand speech, accusing Henry of killing his companions for his own selfish desires. He claims Henry didn't even spare poor Annie in the end. The crowd murmurs that Henry must be a lunatic who lost his mind after using a death curse. With the crowd on his side, the High Deacon sentences Henry to execution. But just as the verdict is passed, Henry speaks up, weakly insisting he didn't lay a hand on Annie. Everyone is confused. If he didn't do it, then who did? The High Deacon scoffs, telling Henry that excuses won't help him now. But a voice cuts through the tension. Why not? Everyone turns in shock as a figure walks down the aisle. It's Annie, and she is very much alive. The crowd absolutely loses it. She points a trembling finger right at the High Deacon and drops the biggest bombshell of the century. The one who really wanted to kill me is the High Deacon. Tatos can barely hide his smirk. This is going exactly as planned. Turns out, after the attack, our girl decided to stay with Annie's body. As they stood over her, Tatos noticed something was off. He knew Nebby had a plans. He reveals that he'd left a wisp of his magic on Henry, and somehow a part of that power transferred to Annie, helping her survive the death curse. With Annie now awake, they could finally hear the truth straight from her. Back in the present, the High Deacon is sweating, sputtering about how this is impossible. But Annie isn't finished. She recounts how he held her close, making her feel loved, only to stab her in the back by branding her with a death curse. He tries to deny it, playing the righteous leader card. But the damage is done. The other saintesses start whispering, wondering about the true nature of their relationship. Annie confesses everything, how she was allowed into his room every night, how she fell for his false affection, only to realize she was nothing but his puppet. The High Deacon screams for her to stop, trying to silence her with his power. Our girl watches unimpressed. He turns to Nebby, desperately trying to spin the situation. He claims Annie has clearly been brainwashed by Henry and needs to be taken away for treatment. But Tatos cuts him off with a savage comeback. If it's just brainwashing, then there's no harm in hearing the rest of her story, right? He leans in, practically giddy, asking what other secrets she has to spill. Annie composes herself and continues her testimony. She reveals the deacon ordered her to frame Nebby and that he knew about Henry's crimes all along. He even orchestrated everything with Dr. Warden. The deacon, cornered, demands proof. Confident she has none. Big mistake, Tato steps forward. Of course there's proof. He explains that a death curse leaves a telltale mark on the caster's back. Before the deacon can react, one of Nebby's men lunges forward, a sword at the ready. With a single clean slice, he shreds the deacon's robes, exposing his back to everyone. And there it is for all to see, a glowing purple curse mark, undeniable proof of his guilt. The crowd gasps in horror. It was all true. He sacrificed his loyal follower just to improve his own reputation. Our girl stands tall as her guards surround the disgraced leader. The high deacon looks at Nebby, a grudging respect in his eyes. So you've been ready for this. He admits she's the smartest one in the Holy Order. But this fight isn't over. He unleashes a torrent of dark energy, his true form emerging. A pity you still can't beat me. Tatos yells for everyone to watch out, pulling Nebby behind him for protection. The deacon explodes with power, sending a shockwave that blasts everyone in the hall off their feet. The chaos has left everyone on the floor, and Tylo is barely holding on. He weakly calls out our girl's name, Nebby, as he collapses. The high deacon strikes Tylo down without a second thought. He revels in his new demonic power, bragging about how it was worth all the sacrifices. He rises, a truly terrifying sight, his lower body a swirling mass of dark energy. The deacon claims they forced his hand, but let's be real, this guy was always a villain. He declares that even if a saintess dies, another will just be born, before vowing to kill them all and absorb their power. But from the side, a voice cuts through his monologue. Heh, I really underestimated you. It's our girl Nebby being held up by Tatos. The deacon is shocked, wondering why his magic didn't work on her. Tatos reminds him that they are essentially the same. The deacon demands to know how she's resisting his magic. He looks at her, then at Tatos, and the pieces finally click in his twisted mind. Could it be, Tatos, are you a demon? He screeches. He then sneers at Nebby, disgusted that the chief saintess would associate with a demon. He calls her disgusting, and oh honey, you did not just say that. Tatos goes absolutely feral, grabbing the deacon by the throat. A demon dared to enter the Holy Order? How dare you? The deacon chokes out. But Tatos just summons a magical blade, telling him he's courting death. The deacon scoffs, thinking he can't be hurt. But Tatos proves him wrong with a swift and brutal stab. The glowing dagger plunges right into the deacon's chest. Nebby can only watch in horror, whispering Tatos's name. The shock sends her tumbling to the ground. Tatos calmly explains that the sword was made with a special method using Nebby's own power inside. But the deacon just laughs as dark energy begins to swarm around Tatos. He starts absorbing Tatos's demonic power. Since you're a demon, I'll take your power, he cackles. Tatos just closes his eyes, completely unbothered. My power, do you think you're worthy? He asks with a smirk. And then bam, a massive surge of power erupts from Tatos, revealing his true, glorious Demon King form. The deacon is floored, stammering, Demon King, are you the Demon King Tatos? Suddenly, all that bravado is gone, replaced with pure, unadulterated terror. The coward immediately starts begging for his life, offering up all the secrets of the Holy Order. Tatos just looks at him with utter disdain. Do you think I care? He effortlessly binds the deacon in chains of light. He then turns to Nebby and tells her, he's the Demon King's blood can, kill him now. Our girl doesn't hesitate, letting an arrow fly. It strikes the deacon square in the chest, and he coughs up blood, completely stunned. Nebby stands firm, bow in hand, declaring, you're the one who should die. The deacon can't believe it. Nebby, you're the saintess, how could you side with the Demon King? Our girl's reply is savage. Sparing you is what would endanger the humans. She stands over him, her decision absolute. The deacon collapses, his body beginning to dissolve into golden light. As his power fades, Nebby sees a strange vision. A goddess with golden hair looks at her with shock. Why are you so foolish? She weeps. She promises to stay with him in the land of night, cradling his horned head as she cries. Until the day you're willing to awaken, she vows. The vision fades and Nebby snaps back to the present. Tatos asks if she's all right. She says she's fine but saw something strange, just as Tatos collapses into her arms. She panics, asking if he's okay. He weakly says he feels awful, but a hug might make it better. This man is so extra, I swear. Our girl gives him a hug. And he has the audacity to ask her to hold him tighter. Turns out, Nebby's arrow didn't finish the job. Instead, the high deacon was sentenced to a public execution by burning at the stake, which is honestly what he deserves. Nebby and Tatos watch as justice is finally served. After that whole mess, the saintesses hold a vote and decide to manage the Holy Order themselves. electing administrators to keep things in check. Our girl later visits Tylo, who was the most seriously injured in the attack. He still hasn't woken up, and she tells him he needs to stay in the holy order to get the best treatment. She promises to come back and see him as soon as he's awake. As she leaves, Tados is waiting for her, asking if she's truly ready to go to the land of night with him. She smiles and says of course she is. She tells him she feels the answers to the legend of the night and light gods lie there. And besides, she adorably admits, I also want to see where you live. Tatos is over the moon, immediately suggesting they have a grand wedding as soon as they get back. Our girl is flustered, holding him at arm's length and exclaiming, I never said that. When they finally part, he looks into her eyes. There will be such a day because we love each other, right? He says smoothly, and with a soft smile, she can only agree, yes, we love each other.